Blue or no blue? Blue or no blue? We'll leave the blue out tonight. You know, when Roman Reigns defeated Edge and Seth Rollins hit the ring again, exactly what we talked about on Friday. It's going to be Cesaro all over again. But instead of Cesaro, it was Edge. I came in here to start the show, and as I started leaving the room, I saw Edge and Seth Rollins brawl into the crowd. Oh, cool. All right, why do we have two of them, though? Two is no good. Maybe we'll have to get rid of one. I don't know, for some reason it's showing 2 or 3. I was messing around with things before, so forgive me if you see like 2 or 3. We're still going to do regular Super Chats, I promise. I'm just playing around with a couple of things. But anyway. I'm getting into this room, and I see Edge and Seth Rollins brawl into the crowd, and I said, you know, they're leaving Roman Reigns in the ring by himself. One of two people. Cena, which we talked about many times before, or could you imagine Brock Lesnar coming out and spearing Roman Reigns? But the two rumored SummerSlam matches that we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks was Edge versus Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Now, it was funny tonight, without naming any names, there was a couple of blue check marks like, you know, Edge should win tonight because it makes sense for SummerSlam. Huh? What are you talking about? I like it. I know some of tonight was kind of predictable, and I'm sorry for that little montage at the very beginning. I actually put those photos together. It's not easy to screen capture, come back in here, screen capture, load everything, and then be ready 2 minutes after the pay-per-view ends. So I know some of the pictures, I think, kind of skipped a little quickly. But we'll talk about it. I want to give a special shout out to everybody who is live tonight. Yes, the Podfather is in the house since 1997, not a couple of years ago, with all due respect to some other Podfathers out there. However, I am a huge fan and I enjoy their hustle. I want to thank you all for tuning in for this Money in the Bank pay-per-view review. I'm going to go through the matches as quickly as I can. And if you'd like to call in, if you have any specific feelings about tonight, you are more than welcome to call in shortly. All I ask is, you know, there's something really I don't know why it's showing like double. That kind of like pisses me off because I don't want to actually start taking shit out. I don't know why it's doing that, but you know what? I'll get rid of that for now. My apologies. Doesn't mean that I still won't acknowledge you. So we'll shout out some people in a moment. But I tell you, we're literally 5 minutes since this pay-per-view ended. And I got to tell you, number one, I know some people out there were complaining about the fans at different points tonight. Some points they had some lack of energy. Sometimes they had some chants that some people didn't particularly appreciate. I love the Becky chants because that lit a fire under Charlotte and Rhea Ripley's ass. And I got to be honest with you, you know, taking away the Money in the Bank matches tonight, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley was my favorite match. And there was one particular moment during that match that turned it around for both women. And it wasn't when Charlotte did this. There was one particular point during that match. And I got to tell you, man, I have expressed many times, countless times, my appreciation for Charlotte. I am a Charlotte fan. I totally respect everyone out there that can't stand her, that are fed up with the gold and, you know, constantly having gold around her, you know, but for me, she is one of the top women to ever hit the ring. She is, to me, the number one woman in wrestling over the last 20 years. I know everybody right now is showing lots of love to Thunder Rosa, as do I. I think, like I said before, I think she's the only person, and I have 3 of her shirts in the closet. But, you know, just because you wrestle one match here, and one match here, and one match here, and one match here, doesn't put you at the top of the list. To me, top 10, without a doubt. But as far as talking, all the tools to make you a superstar and a champion, Charlotte has it. Just my feelings on it. But when that crowd chanted, "This is awesome," and popped big time for that match, I loved it. Because early on, when you heard those Becky chants, yeah, look, early on in that match, it was not flowing all that well. And I totally get fans, they want to see a little bit of a change. For people that are concerned about Rhea Ripley losing this title, mind you, when you talk about Ric Flair, the 16-time heavyweight champion, you talk about this person being a 10-time champion, you're talking about Cena this, in order to be a 15-time champion, you got to be a 14-time loser. See where I'm going with that? So Charlotte, although she's had a lot of title reigns, she's also lost the championship plenty of times. Rhea Ripley will be fine. Rhea Ripley, they now have to have some damage control. They tweaked her character going into WrestleMania. It did not work out well. Fans are confused. Fans do want to cheer Rhea Ripley. And trust me, I think after this match tonight, she is on a great road to recovery. But we will definitely talk about it. I took tons of notes tonight, so we'll definitely share it. Before I do anything, let's pull these up. Shout out to, and by the way, I'm sorry about that little kink. You saw that little effect? Yeah, I'm now going to start incorporating Streamlabs. So this way it'll be like little effects. I know everybody else does it. I'm a little late to the game. But, when you do everything by yourself, it's kind of hard to get everything running all together. But Chris Silva, did I know that there's rumors of Bobby Lashley facing Goldberg at SummerSlam? I've already discussed this twice on shows. I'll say it this way. Friday, I went on a whole rant about this with Goldberg. Since we're talking about Money in the Bank tonight, I don't really want to spend much time here, but I will summarize it this way. The last time Goldberg was on TV, he took on Drew McIntyre. And a lot of people out there lost their shit and tweeted negative over and over and over and over. I saw some goof on Friday write a blog, blue check mark, write a blog. Goldberg is not the answer, WWE. This guy has 2 or 3 years left in his contract. And we've talked about this a year ago. His contract only is for 2 to 3 matches a year. So even if Goldberg does come back, the most he's going to wrestle is 2 times, maybe 3 at the most. So even if, God forbid, they did put a belt on him, which they're not, but even if they did, the most he's going to do is go 1-0 or 2-0. And when he fought Drew McIntyre, that match lasted 3 minutes and Drew won. Drew won. All of that, I honestly think people just do it for attention. Goldberg is going to be this much of the show. This much. If he faces Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam, so be it. Am I concerned of Lashley losing the title? No. For how many weeks now? 3, 4, 5 weeks. We talked about Big E winning Money in the Bank ladder match, and then he's going to take on Lashley, and you're going to end up having every member of New Day. How many times have I said this? You're going to have every member of New Day defeat Bobby Lashley. The only thing is, Big E is the one where the title was on the line, not Xavier Woods and not Kofi. And I know you're going to say, well, Kofi fought tonight. I'm talking about Kofi defeating Lashley. That was a month or so ago. That title was not on the line. This whole storyline is going to lead with Big E taking on Lashley. So personally, SummerSlam is going to have 70,000 fans. Do you want fans at SummerSlam to possibly shit on Goldberg versus Lashley? Could that possibly... Now think about it. When we had Goldberg versus Lesnar at Mania with Steve Austin as the referee, Lesnar was still in his prime. He was leaving for football. Goldberg was a hell of a lot younger, and the fans still shit that out of the building. Do you want to roll the dice in front of 70,000 fans and have Goldberg versus Lashley? I'm not so sure about that. So if Big E is going to take on Bobby Lashley and defeat him, there's only, in my opinion, 2 events it could happen at: WrestleMania which is too far away, or SummerSlam in front of 70,000 fans. So, yeah, I've heard the rumors. If it ends up, then I'll react to it more. But honestly, right now, not concerned in the least. King of Games, so excited to see John Cena tonight. Did you ever think that we would feel that way? You know, Mish and I had a conversation about this last week. I think I also talked about it on Thursday with all of you. That John Cena, it doesn't feel like anymore that he is the quintessential role model for children. I mean, he still does the Make-A-Wish stuff, but John Cena is more a Hollywood actor now. John Cena is not always, his gimmick is not always towards children. He's married. His wife, I believe, is expecting, or I don't know if they could have children. I think they are. He's now in a lot of movies. The way he is online, the way he talks, he is now the role model of kids who are now in their teens and early 20s, believe it or not. And all of us appreciate, for the most part, a lot of what he says online. John Cena is now in a different age demographic. So to think back at that time that we would appreciate Cena so much now, I love it, man. I love it. You know, that's why I always say, whether it's, and I know it's a stretch, but whether it's Sting in AEW, Edge in WWE, Goldberg coming back, John Cena coming back, this person doing this, you know, why don't you wait, take a step back and see what happens? I love the people out there. So like Nikki A.S.H tonight, Nikki A.S.H, she wins the Money in the Bank match. And I said this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that Nikki Cross right now in her gimmick, it doesn't remind me of Mighty Molly or anything like that. She reminds me of a character that if you had a birthday party at the Chuck E. Cheese for your little nephew, your kid, your little brother, your little sister, whoever, like if they had an MC at the party, like one person that blows up the balloons and plays the games and hangs out with the kids and puts smiles on everybody's faces, that's what Nikki Cross looks like to me. When she first came out in her match tonight, you know, I joked around on this. If Dark Helmet was in attendance tonight, Dark Helmet would have said, you know, I'm not surrounded by ash holes. She didn't get a pop. And I tell you the truth, when she cried in the back, when she was standing on the ladder, I think it all hit her like, I can't believe I'm in this position. Because there was a lot of buzz that Nikki Cross was not going to be around in the WWE in the long haul. I don't know by her choosing or release, but there was a lot of buzz that, you know, she may not make it up to this point. So for her to get this, that's great. Her character is not meant for every demographic. And I love the people out there that'll say, you know, Nikki Cross is not for me. You know, it's for other people. Well, guess what? So is fucking Goldberg, and so is John Cena, and so is Edge, and so is Sting, and so is this, and so is that. Little bit for everybody. You can't have it like, no flippy. Okay, you give them no flippy. Now they're content. No Goldberg. No, a little bit for everybody. A little bit for everybody. That's just my opinion on it. So John Cena being back tonight, I love it. I love it. It's going to be a fun feud with him and Roman Reigns because John Cena is going to be really, really tough on the mic. And Roman Reigns, believe me when I tell you, man, Roman Reigns kids sit there and go, it's not going to, I mean, it'll work, but it'll just get the fans behind Cena even more. Man, I'll tell you this much. We'll move on. Many, many years ago, and a lot of you will remember this, many, many years ago, no matter who you put up against Cena, the fans still shit on Cena. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. The women and the kids, let's go Cena. Everybody else, Cena sucks. You got a little taste of that tonight. I don't know if you saw it during the main event. Let's go Roman. Let's go Edge. Let's Go Roman, kids and girls. Let's Go Roman was the men. Let's Go Edge. You could hear the different pitch. And I'm not saying that every woman chanted for Edge, which is kind of weird if you actually think about it, because they, you know, I could see it going on both sides. But back in the day, no matter who you put up against Cena, the little kids and the women predominantly would chant for Cena no matter what. But everyone else, it was a hard time to get behind Cena. Now, you know, we got the opposite. I mean, Roman Reigns for many years also. It felt like no matter who they put up against Roman Reigns, the crowd still would not get behind Roman Reigns. Now it's the opposite, and it'll be a lot easier to go with. I loved it. I loved it. AS7607, shout out to you. The damn glitches pissed her off tonight. All right, look. I know I joked on social media that if you clicked your feet and you said boogs 3 times, the glitches would end. I had no glitches tonight. Word of the wise, the last time Peacock had a little glitch, I don't know if it was WrestleMania Backlash, but there was a few moments where they became very, very choppy. And there was some people bitching online about it. Little piece of advice. If you have an account with Peacock, go on your computer. Go on your computer. I was on the TV and the computer because when I came in here to put notes or to transfer photos, I watched it in here to make sure I wasn't missing anything. And the Roku and the apps were all crashing for about a half an hour today. The computer was just fine. The computer was just fine. So if you have that happen again on your phone, on your computer, you should have been able to watch, because I know quite a few people that said, yeah, I had no glitches either. So I watched it through the computer and I was able to see everything. So, you know, I feel bad for everybody out there who missed, you know, I'll fill in some of the blanks because I took notes. You know, you missed a really, really fun segment. I know when I posted the pictures earlier, you really didn't get a chance to see this. I'm going to take your super chat down for 1 second, but Riddle convinces Boogs to do Randy Orton's theme, and you got Shinsuke doing the Randy Orton pose, which was freaking hilarious. You know, we did not get any interaction with Elias tonight and Rick Boogs, and I honestly thought you're going to bring Elias back. Got live fans. Now tomorrow's going to be live fans too, so I can almost guarantee at some point during Raw you're going to hear Elias, but we're not going to have Rick Boogs getting involved in it. So James Pasco, I think your cell phone would have worked just fine also. Oh, he says he can't afford a computer. He lives in a box. So I'm sorry if anybody had those issues earlier, but you know, look, Peacock, it's going to have its glitches. You know, I mean, we got to just deal with them seriously. But a little word to the wise in the future. If you start having glitches and you're watching it through your television, just go on a computer or the phone. You should be able to be fine until the glitches wear itself out. You know what pissed me off the last time? Was it Mania when they had the glitches or something? And, you know, like I just contacted him. I'm like, hey, you know, any idea what's going on? Yeah, it'll be up within 15 minutes. And I posted it online. Instead of people saying thank you, you know what they say? Who told you that? Fucking Santa Claus told me that. Fuck you. That's why I don't do tech support for people anymore. You know, because unless I just go on there and just complain about the world, you know, or announce a wedding date, you know, no attention. That's all right. Oh, Jay Calls, I got to get back to you for a minute. John Poirier, what's my second favorite cheese? John is hilarious. He does this once in a while. We'll be heavily deep in wrestling conversation. He'll say to them, like, what's your favorite dessert? What's your favorite this? My favorite cheese is provolone. My second favorite cheese is probably mozzarella cheese. I mean, sometimes I make keto pizza and I'll just eat the cheese and throw out the bread, you know. So give me some good cheese. And you know what? Pecorino Romano, definitely up there on the list too. Jay Carlos will hang out for a little while on the screen if you all don't mind. Jay Carlos says, some people like it or not, the Podfather is only one guy. See, the back of me, it's cut off, the top part. So I figured, all right, so tonight I could do this. Or if I even want, we could just get rid of the graphics altogether. Have a full screen for a little while. I will admit, you know, I don't miss Thunderdome anymore. I mean, I love the fact that the last visual of a match on Thunderdome is me front and center on the TV screen, which whoever did that for me in WWE, I say thank you. The little kid in me really, really popped for that. But that crowd tonight, man, that crowd tonight was awesome. That crowd, you know what was cool about tonight? You know early on that the fans had so much energy inside them, they just want to erupt. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, well, we already had one live show, so, you know, but you don't understand. Here in New York, my neck of the woods, we haven't been able to go to a big wrestling event yet. So we could just scream at the top of the lungs and just get into the chants and get into the energy and hear, you know, the moves in the ring and hear the noise up close and personal and have that smell, not underarms or anything like that, but that smell in the arena. You smell food, you smell this. There's just an aura about it that you need live and in person. So as many times as I see live fans back on TV, whether it's AEW, WWE, Impact, albeit this much, or anywhere else, nothing replaces until it comes to your hometown. So if everybody who was there live for Money in the Bank, a majority of them probably were not on SmackDown Friday. So they finally got their first chance in a long time to yell at the top of their lungs for wrestling. So early on, there was a little bit extra energy, no question. But my God, you hear that pop for Edge towards the end of the night? I mean, that crowd was energized all night long. When they chanted, "This is awesome," they didn't chant it because they missed chanting it. They chanted it at times where it was 100% deserved. See, if I'm in the desert and I haven't had water, or better yet, I haven't had cold water, like the only water I could find is like from a stream with the sun glaring, and every time you drink it, it's hotter than bath water. And then after a long time, desperate, you give me an ice cold bottle of water. I'll just be sitting there go like this. Yes, I use an excuse to take a slug. I'll drink the whole goddamn bottle and be like, oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. I'm holding back the burps. That's what it was for these fans. But tonight, they chanted it because it was deserved, especially Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, because they dug a hole so early in that match. And I tell you, man, so happy that they dug out of that hole. And let's be honest, too. If Becky Lynch returns to Raw, I'd rather see a feud with Charlotte than the feud with Rhea Ripley, to be honest with you. I mean, you go with old reliable, and I don't mean that in an elderly sense. I mean, you go with you know works. Rhea Ripley now, they have to rebuild her character a little bit. She might still remain in the mix. We may end up with a three-way, for all we know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So, Jay Carlos, I will return to you in a few moments, and I thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate it more than you know. It helps tremendously, tremendously. Especially now, you know, the announcement I made over the weekend. I got to work twice as hard to pay off, you know, upcoming things. But, you know, hey, you want something, you got to go out and work for it and go for it. So, excuse me. I muted it. Nobody heard it. Nobody heard it. Ah, man. Sep TV 99. I will not boot you simply because of creativity. You know, I just don't want people trolling stuff here. You know, but that's creative. People in the chat, that's creative. I give them that, seriously. It's all about positive, man. It's all about having fun. You know, I mean, you really got to piss me off to make me want to like shadow ban people and shit like that. But look, I said this last week and I say it again now. From July to the end of the year, if you don't look back at these 5.5 months and consider it, or 5 months and consider it some of the best 5 months in wrestling in years and years and years and years. If you don't feel that way by the end of December, turn in your wrestling fan badge, your license, because it's just, I mean, we have 1.5 years that we lost. You know, I mean, obviously it was under special circumstances, but you see what's happening, like with Impact Wrestling. They're basically in bed with as many promotions as they can. Somebody said today it's like an E-Fed, and I'm like, that's a wonderful comparison. You know, they just have a little from every place here, and everybody's getting a little exposure, and they're keeping their wrestlers content by working some extra places. If COVID didn't happen, you would not have that right now. You would not have that right now. So, you know, let's just hope that this E-Fed aura about Impact Wrestling, let's like let it reflect the ratings a little bit, because I don't care how many times you want to yell a Forbidden Door has been kicked open when only 140,000 fans tune into that product. That door you're kicking open, it's like a screen mesh door, and your foot went right through it like Nordberg in a Naked Gun. You know, we need to see some numbers, big numbers, reflected. The next 4+ months in 2021 is going to be awesome. Not everything is going to be perfect, but it's going to be awesome. So, shout out to James Gruesome. Thank you very much, my friend. I'll fix out those little kinks with that Streamlabs stuff early on so it pops up on the screen. I know stickers don't show up, but you got my love. So, let's kick it off. We've been talking 30 minutes. Let's talk about some of the matches, shall we? Let me pull up my photos here. I have so many freaking photos here. Oh, my God. Yeah, you know, I just realized I don't have the pictures here. I took away the pictures. Let's see. Should I put this back? Yeah, we could put this back, right? Nah, let's leave it like this. Fuck it. The kickoff match. Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio versus the Usos. I know a lot of you feel the same way as I did. It feels an awful lot like WWE is more into the storyline than real life circumstance. Jimmy Uso has a DUI. He's had a history of DUIs. Now, back in the day, they had a lot of wrestlers that would have some issues outside of wrestling. As long as you didn't get caught, it's kind of like swept under the table. You cannot sweep it under the table, especially when the table it's being swept under is the biggest storyline in the company, which is Roman Reigns and the head of the table. This guy, although one time found not guilty, even though there was footage of the incident, that leaves him as his second DUI officially. Doesn't feel like anything was done to address it. Now, as I said on Friday, there's a couple of things that I was told about that arrest and the tests that may actually come back different. I have nothing to base that on. Do not post that as news. I am trying to get answers. It's not very easy. I'm not an investigator. So, you know, who am I going to get in touch with? But, you know, the thing is that for the fact that WWE is still rewarding the Usos, especially Jimmy, after what went down, that rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But at the same time, though, you go back to that match, the crowd did pop for the Usos winning. I mean, yeah, you could get a melodramatic on social media. Oh, if he drinks and drives again and runs over someone, are they going to give him the heavyweight title next time? I get it. I get that thinking. But the problem is, alcoholism is an illness. It's an addiction. And I'm not saying that he's an alcoholic, but I'm never going to joke about someone who possibly has some type of an issue, an addiction, an illness, whatever it is. During COVID, like I said, you and I don't know if Jimmy Uso drinks and drives every week. We don't know if he barely ever drinks anymore. We don't know because of 4th of July and it's nothing, I'm not justifying his behavior. He's still fucked up. You're in the biggest, most important storyline on TV. You're getting paid well. Look what a lot of people online did to Naomi, which was just absolutely horrendous. So the fact that this guy's still screwed up, you don't know if it's just stupidity and carelessness or if there's an addiction. And the problem is, if there's an addiction, he needs help. You need help now. It's not, he's got to win the titles first so they could lose it to this person. Because when the Roman Empire crushes and crumbles, everything, then he could do it. They had the perfect scenario to take him off TV. Edge with the piece of the chair, Jimmy Uso in the mouth. That was the week before. All they had to say is that Jimmy Uso is injured. And that's it. They brought him back, acted like nothing happened, and now they have the tag titles. So we don't know how much, is going on behind the scenes. I know the visual doesn't look all that great, but, they're an entertainment company. You know what I mean? It's an entertainment company. They're a publicly traded company, major storylines, and they felt that it was not serious enough to take him off TV. Sooner or later, and it'd be interesting if, I know this is not NXT, but be interesting if they did like the post-show, media call. And I would love to hear someone in WWE be asked the question, what do you justify this? Now, I'm sure the answer will be, well, it's an ongoing and, there's a lot of things that are not, so you'll get that generic answer. But, I wonder if somebody is going to bring that up. Shout out to Kevin Milwaukee. I don't know what you're talking about, but all right. So the Mysterios and the Usos had a great match. Felt like their match on SmackDown. It felt like, the 6-man that we had on Friday. There was a lot of crowd reaction in this match, and the crowd was energized. Again, as I said, Friday was Dominik's first ever WWE match wrestling in front of live fans. So imagine now you go into Money in the Bank as well. And man, that intro where it looked like they went through a tunnel. I think I have 2 of the pictures here. Got to take this down when I do this, but they did like a little video thing at the beginning. They're both dressed in suits, well, almost suits. And they go through this little like tunnel, computer graphics, special effects, and then they come out. And I think this mask, that hockey mask, might be on sale on WWE Shop. Because someone was telling me that WWE was putting out a bunch of hockey masks with wrestlers' themes to it. So that could very well be on WWE Shop. They had a great match. Controversial ending. Basically, Jimmy Uso ate a 619. And basically, they were playing that Jimmy Uso took the bullet for his brother. So Jimmy Uso pushes Rey Mysterio face first into the turnbuckle and goes for the pin. And while he's pinning Rey Mysterio, Jey Uso is outside the ring pushing Jimmy for extra leverage so Ray can't kick out of the pin. So Jimmy Uso gets the win. He pins Rey Mysterio, and they are the new tag team champions. And this photo was shot during the pay-per-view tonight. I tell you, this is an awesome shot. Not just the look of the Usos and Roman Reigns as well, but look at Paul Heyman in the back. I mean, Paul Heyman is just, I freaking love that guy's work, man. If Brock Lesnar makes a return, I don't know how you handle that. I personally would love to see Brock Lesnar just stay on Raw, and who knows? You know, I know it's not going to be the same without Paul Heyman, but I don't know if I want to see interaction between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, you know, with Paul Heyman like being in the middle. I don't know if I really want to see that. But almost, I don't want to say almost nobody, but quite a few of you, including me, expected the Mysterios to retain. We're back to live fans. You know, it felt like the Mysterios, I tell you the truth, I wanted to see the Mysterios versus Otis and Chad Gable at SummerSlam. I know a lot of people don't like Otis's character right now, but as I mentioned Friday, I am so glad that they waited to take all the facial hair off and everything else. If they would have done it 6 months ago with the LED screens and Thunderdome, it wouldn't have felt like anything right now. But people are still not used to Otis as we got right now. And this, to me, is the best Otis has done as a heel. I would have liked to see them take on the Mysterios. We might still get that. I have no idea. But the big question is, like, who do the Usos go after next? Are they going to continue feuding with the Mysterios? They might, based on what went down on the main event tonight. So they could very well have a return match at SummerSlam. You know what? Maybe they will do that. I don't have a problem with it. But, you know, they could also go the gauntlet route, which is a possibility. But your new tag team champions are the Usos. Was this the 7th time that they have gold? I think it's the 7th time that they have gold. So congrats to them. Let's see where it goes from here. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Alexa Bliss came out first. Really, really big. Let me tell you something. I know WrestleMania, when she came out of the box with the chocolate liquid all dribbling down and shit like that, and the outcome of The Fiend versus Randy Orton, and a lot of people just thought it sucked. And then we talked about this 4 or 5 weeks ago. We saw a significant change in her character where you couldn't do all the special effects in the live fans, around the live fans in the ringside area. You could do backstage skits still, but you can't do it around ringside area with fans there. So there was a significant change in her character. Then it became psychological and voodoo. And if anybody tuned into Friday's show, you knew that there was one thing that I was fearing about this match. I think I even said it a week or two before as well. Now, this is Alexa Bliss, her outfit. I know a lot of people liked it. I think it looks good. Don't change it. She's fine in what she's doing right now. The little bit of psychological stuff, you know, I don't think she looks creepy. You know what I mean? So to see Zelina Vega and others get a little bit spooked out by her and shit like that, I don't know. But speaking of Zelina Vega looking great as well. I don't know why, but I look at that outfit and for some reason, like, I feel like it's like an Eva Marie outfit, or is it Lacey Evans? There's something about an outfit. It feels like I've seen it before, but Zelina Vega, you know, looking more, everybody looked good. If you go back when Nikki came out, I truly felt bad for her. Try to lighten up the mood with the dark helmet thing. You know, I'm not surrounded by assholes. She got no reaction whatsoever. I mean, Tamina didn't get much of a reaction as well, which is disappointing because leading up to Mania, there was a lot of people getting behind Tamina, and there was a lot of energy at Mania for Tamina. It wasn't as much tonight. Crowd popped nicely for Natty, though, but there was one point during this match that, man, I got a lot of DMs from people. Remember I said one scenario I don't want to see happen is she climbs the ladder with someone else and then does this. The only difference is that I said she'll go like this, and whoever was on the opposite side of the ladder falls backwards. Well, they went the safer route tonight. Alexa Bliss goes like this, and Zelina Vega does the same, and they're just staring at each other. And a couple of you perverts for that few seconds were going, kiss, kiss, kiss. No. Alexa Bliss starts walking down the ladder, and Zelina Vega is doing the same thing Alexa Bliss is doing. Alexa Bliss then shoots right back up, and for some reason, Zelina Vega, a little slow to the game, doesn't shoot back up also. But let me tell you something. Alexa Bliss, the fans were really behind tonight. There was one point where Alexa Bliss took out Natty during the match, and Alexa Bliss looked up and stared at the briefcase, and then she started going to the ladder, and that crowd erupted. That crowd, you know, I know Liv Morgan became the emotional favorite for a lot of you out there. And I had talked about this Friday on the predictions. I like Liv Morgan a lot. If any of you saw the pre-show tonight, Liv Morgan was interviewed, and Liv Morgan bursted out with legitimate tears. Like, you could see the emotion on not how grateful, and some of this I'm just assuming, this is just guessing, but how she started crying about getting this opportunity. It wasn't just the fans, because they were talking about how the fans chanted, "You deserve it." But I think also during that moment, she's thinking about the Riot Squad. You know, didn't all three of them get tattooed, all the same tattoo? And, you know, obviously, 2 of the 3 members are no longer there. And, you know, I wouldn't blame Liv Morgan if she thought deep down inside, like, you know, am I going to be next to be gone? So the fact that she's still there and she's being given an opportunity and she's in this match, you know, she had some legitimate tears. That just gets the fans behind her even more. But what I said on Friday is that there is no rush. There's no rush to push Liv Morgan to the moon. Because even if she were to win the briefcase, is she going to break through Bianca Belair? No. She going to break through Sasha Banks, which I think might come back Friday, because for those that aren't aware, we got a rematch this Friday, Bianca versus Carmella. I think that's where you're going to get the return of Sasha Banks. And I think Sasha versus Bianca has to be for SummerSlam, in my opinion. So Liv Morgan, what is she going to do? Run around with the briefcase for 6 months, 8 months? You know, so it's not the right time. But, you know, sometimes when you lose, you win. And Liv Morgan, although did not win Money in the Bank today, that crowd reaction, that pop, that is legit support for her. What we got to hope is that Vince McMahon especially believes that as well. Because when you hear bizarre things, and you know me, I absolutely love Vince McMahon. But when you hear bizarre things where everybody's chanting Rusev Day and Vince says, they're not cheering you, they're mocking you. What the fuck are you talking about? Seriously. You know, go lift weights. Do you see that video of him lifting weights, Vince, still? That was a current video. Guy's a beast still. I just sad to see him get old. We all get old. But, so there's no rush for Liv Morgan. But, you know, the match tonight, other than Liv Morgan, I truthfully believe that the fans wanted Alexa Bliss to win. As crazy as it sounds. Asuka, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people didn't like my idea, but I know a lot of people that did. And anyone that did not tune in last week, what I thought should happen with the ladder match. And again, this is just me thinking outside the box. But remember last year? Asuka won last year. Now, Pat McAfee was wrong tonight. Because if you listen closely, Pat McAfee said that Asuka cashed in and won. That's not actually what happened. If you remember last year, Asuka won the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then Becky Lynch came out, opened the briefcase, and the championship was inside. Becky Lynch announces her pregnancy, and Asuka and Becky Lynch exchanging a lot of hugs, a lot of love, and Asuka became champion because of that. I personally think, Nathan Rita, what's up, Nathan? I personally think I would have no problem if they went one of two routes tonight. If Becky Lynch would have returned tonight, I would have no problem if Asuka gave her spot to Becky Lynch. Last year, you gave me the championship because she was pregnant. Obviously, you're not going to get that deep in conversation on TV, but last year you gave me the championship. This year, I'm giving you my opportunity to get the briefcase. That's one scenario. The second scenario, and this is the one I really wanted, I wanted Asuka to win the briefcase tonight. And then if Becky Lynch returns to Raw, then I could see Asuka saying, last year, you gave me the championship. This year, I give the briefcase to you. I mean, I don't know how that would work with Adam Pearce. I think in storyline, I think the fans would have liked it. It would have made total sense, even if the storyline didn't go through, that somebody balked at it or something like that. You can't do that. But I personally think that would have made total sense. But now you could just have Becky show up on Raw, confront Charlotte Flair, and boom, she's got a title shot. But personally, I think it would have been much cooler to see Asuka give the briefcase to Becky after what Becky did to her for her last year. We did not get that. We did not get that. Look, the crowd did chant for Becky tonight, which we will talk about in a moment. But the match was fine. There was one point where all of the women were trying to bury Alexa Bliss under a bunch of ladders outside the ring, and the crowd was not having it. Crowd was really behind Naomi as well. I mean, Naomi is extremely popular, and I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned. And I'm not saying this because of black. I'm not saying it because of black. I swear to you, I'm not. But Ember Moon in NXT, I'm really concerned. Without Shotzi and her, with her as a tag team, I don't know how far they would utilize Ember Moon or give her a push. It feels like it's getting stale quickly. Personally, I know this is something, but since Nick Khan, the full effect of Nick Khan, you're seeing people being used multiple places. I would like to have seen Naomi maybe go to NXT for a little while and maybe team up with Ember Moon. I think that would be a really fun tag team to have in NXT for a little while, you know? Just trying to think outside the box a little bit. But towards the finish of this match, and I honestly think none of us expected the win to happen the way it did. But what happened was you had 3 ladders in the ring. Now, you know that all 3 ladders are going to be utilized. Now, there was one part that was really dumb where Asuka climbed the 3rd ladder. And the 3rd ladder was nowhere near the briefcase. There was no way she could have grabbed it. But I guess they were trying to position the ladders the right way, and it was way too far. There was another point during the match that was, I think, screwed up as well. You remember when all the women were outside the ring, and I said they were burying Alexa Bliss under the ladders. I think what was supposed to happen is when they were all outside the ring, while they were doing that and distracted, Liv Morgan was supposed to climb the ladder and try to get the briefcase. And if you go back and you watch it, Liv Morgan takes the ladder, and if it's facing this way, she faces it this way. She faces it the other way. She moved the ladder like 2 or 3 different ways to position it the right way. And it looked really, really sly. It looked like she did it after the fact. And sure enough, everybody hits the ring. And there was another point that I didn't like as well. And I know a lot of you out there really didn't like this. And let's be fair. We complain about AEW a lot about this. And you know, I'm very fair to AEW as well. But we got to call it out when it happens. There was a really goofy moment during this match where all the women were in the ring and Nikki Cross climbs the ladder. And, you know, she's looking around, trying to get a pop from the crowd. And even though you obviously want to get a reaction from the crowd, if you just keep your eyes glued on the women in the ring, they look ridiculously bad. Because Nikki Cross is climbing the ladder and they're all like hugging each other, you know, like they do when they get in position. And Nikki Cross is at the top and they're in position. You got to just dive off. You got to make it look like, you know, they're not expecting it. So Nikki, and meanwhile, they're in the ring, like waiting. And then she dives off onto all of them. I mean, I think a lot of fans, even there, were polite, like, all right, cool dive, but didn't come off well on TV. But the end of the match was definitely something that I don't think we expected. We ended up having all 3 ladders used. Now remember, there was 7 women in this match. 7 women. Was 7 or 8? No, we had 8 women in this match. Zelina Vega, Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Natty, and Tamina. So they're all on the ladders. And they're all trying to grab the briefcase, and the briefcase is flying back and forth. So everybody that was on the ladders, they're getting mad at each other, and they're punching each other and this and that. So Nikki Cross just climbs the ladder as they're brawling on the ladder, and she grabs the briefcase. There you go. She grabs the briefcase while they're not expecting it. And she was the win. She was the winner. So, again, you don't see it here. You don't see it here. Nikki Cross went to the back and was standing on the ladder. And crowd was definitely popping more for her at the end than in the beginning, because I really, truly felt bad for her at the beginning of this match because she got literally no reaction whatsoever. But when she won, got a nice pop, and when she was in the back, few moments after this, they put the camera back on her, and she was crying. I mean, literally in tears. You can see it. You could feel it. And look, one thing about tonight, you know, neither Nikki Cross nor Big E have ever won a heavyweight championship. So it's pretty cool to see 2 people win the briefcase that have not been a heavyweight champion. Yeah, I'm talking, and forget NXT and forget, you know, the secondary titles. Not going to forget the tag titles because New Day, WWE, you know, greatest tag team of all time. But, you know, I have no problem with Nikki Cross winning. Obviously, I had a different scenario in mind, but, you know, she's doing fine. Seriously. So she's the winner. You could tell that she's very, very, you know, legitimately a good person. I mean, we don't know her personally. And I know a lot of you out there, oh, if I have it available, I don't know if I do, But I know some of you out there who have never seen this. I think, oh, can I pull it up? Do I have it? It'll be worth it, everyone. Trust me. We did a contest not too long ago. I think I have it. I'm just checking it out. We did a contest not too long ago of who am I? And I'm just seeing if I can find a picture. Give me one more second. Hopefully I have it. Oh, I found it. You know me with these shows. I keep looking. I never stop until I find it. Now, some of you know exactly what I'm going to post. But, when I posted this picture with the Who Am I contest, you would not believe how many people had no idea who this was. And believe it or not, yes, this is a couple of years ago, but still, just to show you how different when you have, different hair and the way you're set up. And now with this outfit, that is actually Nikki Cross. That is actually Nikki Cross. You'd be surprised at how many people that when I showed that, they're like, I have no idea who that is. So congrats to her. I know some people will rewind that later and pause it and be like the Alexa Bliss would be like. So very cool. Very cool. Excellent match. For their standards, no complaints. A couple of little issues here and there, but for the most part, everybody worked hard. A lot of people with the heart emojis. So she's cute. She's definitely cute. Okay. AJ Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders. Fans clearly behind AJ Styles. See, a lot of people realize that for a while, AJ Styles and Omos, if you followed Raw on a weekly basis, it felt like they were becoming baby faces. Omos has a charisma about him that people like. AJ Styles, he's earned the respect of everybody out there. I mean, he has just been one of the MVPs for WWE for several years now. And, you can't help but to get behind that team. The Viking Raiders, this is more WWE screw up than anything else. The Viking Raiders are not liked by the fans as much as you think that they are. It's not necessarily them. We remember last year during COVID, they're doing all those skits with the Street Profits, and it just, I don't know, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and when they made their return the night after WrestleMania, it just felt very uneventful. A lot of people want to see AJ Styles and Omos versus Riddle and Randy Orton for those tag titles, and I am one of them. Tonight, this match was about power. There was one point where Eric picked up Ivar and slammed him onto AJ Styles, what looked impressive. The problem is, Eric slams Ivar. And I know we've seen it before. But then you have Omos do it. And the commentators are making such a big deal, like, look at Omos' strength and this and that. When you see Eric do it 3 minutes earlier, it doesn't feel as big when Omos does it. Omos is great with his offense. If I could be a little bit critical, just a little bit, Omos needs to work on his selling a little bit more. Omos, that's what happens when you are huge and WWE builds you as being the one who gives most of the offense and doesn't take much. So he has to work on that. I am not worried. I am not worried because a lot of what Omos is doing is working great for him. He's never going to be a 4-star wrestler. He's never going to be one of these extremely agile big men. But for what he needs to do and his charisma, and I tell you, as far as oddball tag teams go, they haven't been together that long. But you look over the years, this is probably one of the better oddball tag teams that I'm enjoying. And it's not black or white or tall and short or anything like that. It's just Omos and AJ Styles, it just felt like so random when it first happened. And now, it clicks and we enjoy it. And sure enough, Omos gets the win. Crowd, like I said, completely behind Omos and AJ Styles. A lot of AJ Styles chants tonight. Yeah, a lot of love in the chat room right now. I don't have the chat configured for the screen, but a lot of love in the chat room towards that tag team. Viking Raiders are not bad, but I think the Viking Raiders now should feud with T-Bar and Mace. Just have 4 big men just beat the shit out of each other. Wild brawls, especially with the return of fans. You have some wild brawls. See, that's the thing. Live fans never experience retribution. Thank God. But T-Bar and Mace, you get in some wild brawls with some people, I think crowd would eat that shit up. No? Don't like that idea? I would not give Omos the Yokozuna WrestleMania push. Not enough seasoning, not enough time in. If it's not broken, don't fix it. He's good right now. He compliments AJ Styles. When he picks up, look, if you saw AJ Styles, didn't you saw the move where Omos, it looked like he threw AJ Styles outside the ring onto the Viking Raiders? AJ Styles, all the momentum, he was going outside the ring. But Omos doing that little bit extra, it complements well. They are emphasizing the power of Omos, and they're hiding a lot of the negatives. And if something isn't clicking, there is AJ Styles to pick it up. AJ Styles, you could put Nicholas in the ring with AJ Styles, and I think somehow they would be able to pull off a decent tag team match against 2 other people. So good for AJ Styles and Omos. They get the win. We had a backstage segment with Jimmy and Jey Uso. I don't know if I was reading too much into this, but, Jey Uso, he offers the championship, the tag championship to Roman Reigns. Jimmy Uso, yeah, me too. Jey Uso says, been with you since day one-ish. You're the tribal chief, this and that. Jimmy Uso also acknowledging Roman Reigns as the tribal chief. And Roman Reigns, again, I don't know if I'm reading too much into this. When Roman Reigns kept saying, I'm proud of you, even though he even said, I'm proud of you too. Every time he would say something really positive, it looked like he was only looking at Jey Uso. And, Roman Reigns then says, this is the family's always watching. This is our lifeblood. Winning the match was easy. I did something for you. Now you got to do something for me. Now we're all thinking, okay, the Usos are going to get involved in the main event tonight. And sure enough, they did a little bit. But that backstage segment, I thought was interesting. Drew McIntyre did a backstage interview, got some booze. Then he gave a pop for the live fans. They all cheered. And basically what Drew said was he was proud to be a champion in Thunderdome. And he even said, we'll be all happy if we never hear the word Thunderdome ever again. The crowd popped at that. Drew McIntyre saying this is his last opportunity tonight that he has to win. The fans are not against Drew McIntyre. They don't dislike the guy. They're not shitting on Drew McIntyre. Their booing tonight was to express their feeling that they wanted someone else to win the ladder match. I think some people read way too much into that, or they were crossing their fingers. Please, Drew, booze. Please, Drew, booze. Please, 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 please. Because during that match, when Drew was doing some of the shit that he was doing, crowd loved it. Crowd ate it up. Double Claymore, crowd popped big time. So it's not that they dislike Drew McIntyre. They just want someone else to win that briefcase. That's all that was tonight. Shout out to Horror Games. What the fuck is this? We were doing a recap of Sesame Street. They were on Nickelodeon tonight. They had like the 65th reunion, you know? So, yeah, it was pretty cool. Asuka is still grouchy. You know, the garbage can has a little bit more rust now. Read the title. Read the title. Much love. Much love. I hate Sesame Street, by the way. I never liked it. Yeah, we're not going to get controversial with that shit. No. Leave it alone. Let's get back to the recap. Because I know we definitely want to take some calls. So I should go rapido with this a little bit. All right. Bobby Lashley tonight took on Kofi Kingston. This was an ass kicking. Kofi got a little bit of offense in, but this was basically Bobby Lashley, just offense nonstop. While he's beating the crap out of Kofi, you have MVP yelling in the background, don't ever let him disrespect you again. Don't ever. Now, a lot of people were very surprised this match happened so early tonight. What you realized immediately was that, okay, we're not getting a new heavyweight champion tonight because the men's Money in the Bank ladder match did not happen yet. So Kofi versus Bobby Lashley happened very early in the night. I really didn't have any problem with it, especially with the story that the match told. You did not want that to be the next to last match of the night and have Kofi get his butt kicked. Now, props to WWE for making this storyline with Kofi and Bobby Lashley good. Because 95% of you out there for the last month said, as much as we like Kofi and as much as his win was one of the most beautiful moments, and he earned it. I know a lot of people say you deserve it. I choose to sometimes say, and rather than saying you deserve it, you earned it. He earned it. But still, the way everything is going right now, I threw a curveball out there about 3 weeks ago that I remember even Mish saying to me is like, whoa. I said, could you imagine if Big E won the briefcase, Kofi wins the championship, and then they do a storyline where Big E, you know, is joking with Kofi and like, hey, I could catch this in against you. And you wouldn't do that. And then if you did, you know, I would have. And then it would lead to friction, and then we would have Kofi versus Big E. I knew they would never do that. I said, but could you imagine? And God bless all of you out there that heard that and then ran and told all your friends, hey, what about this scenario? But I don't think anybody really out there thought that Bobby Lashley was going to be losing this championship tonight, especially with everybody thinking that Big E was going to win the briefcase. You know, if you follow the storyline closely, you know, Xavier Woods got his ass kicked from Bobby Lashley in the cage to sell. So Kofi's whole promo, his whole reason to go up against Bobby Lashley was revenge for what Lashley did to Xavier. Remember, I felt very uncomfortable seeing my brother, you know, being assaulted like that and everything else. So I thought tonight that after Lashley won, since Lashley's got this pissed off attitude, the bullshit stops. The women are gone because they're not going on the road with WWE. We talked about that last week. But the bullshit stops. And when MVP's saying, don't let him ever disrespect you again, don't ever let him disrespect you again, after the match was over, I truly thought that Lashley was going to beat up Kofi within an inch of his life. Not really, but you know what I mean. We're to the point where Xavier and even Big E, even though Big E did not win yet tonight, where Big E does that look like Rocky Balboa with Ivan Drago. You know what I mean? And it would be funny, Bobby Lashley, I must break you. But we didn't get that. Bobby Lashley, hurt lock early on. Kofi kind of breaks out of it. and Lashley just drops him like a sack of potatoes. Hits a Dominator. Crowd boos. No problem. I hit it again. Even louder boos. So we know it's over. Lashley puts the Hurt Lock once again, and the ref calls for the bell. Very, very one-sided match. You know, Kofi, admirable fight, but this storyline is much deeper than that. That's why I believe a lot of people up to now still don't understand, how does Xavier Woods get a win right before the pay-per-view? You know, how does Xavier Woods get this much interaction with Bobby Lashley? I think, as I've been saying for a month, it all leads to the third member of the New Day. You know, when the New Day first split up and Big E went to SmackDown, I mean, when they were talking about New Day, everything only showed Kofi and Xavier. Then, a couple of weeks ago, they started focusing on all three of them again. And then they did this greatest tag team tournament, which was very interesting timing. And usually when these are done, there's usually an agenda with it. And right back, you know, Big E in the mix, wearing the T-shirts with all three, and all three always mention this and that. So they wanted everyone to still remember Big E deep into New Day. So there's no question Big E is going to show up on Raw. And the most important scenario, and we just mentioned this now with the men's ladder match tonight, we're not having a draft until, what, the first week in October, it's the rumor? That is 2 months away, 2.5 months away. How do you get Big E on Raw before the draft? Well, he wins the briefcase. Then he could show up on Raw and troll Bobby Lashley as much as he wants. Bobby Lashley comes out tomorrow, brags about his win. Something could happen with interaction with Kofi or Xavier or both. And then Big E could come out and get in the face of Bobby Lashley and tease. And now with the live fans, you know, it's not going to be just LED screens. Live fans are going to eat that shit up. So there's going to be a lot of Bobby Lashley trolling going on, in my opinion. So Bobby Lashley gets a convincing win tonight, and match is over. That's pretty much what we had. It's pretty much what we had. So I don't think a lot of people expected anything different. The match was very one-sided, but the one-sidedness was supposed to be the very focused and very pissed off Bobby Lashley. Not that Kofi was not good. It was Lashley was pissed off. Hey, some of you in the chat do not like New Day. I totally respect it. But, you know, I think Big E versus Lashley makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Let's see what happens on Raw tomorrow. I would think something is going to happen on Raw tomorrow. So, next match we have. This match, you know, when they had their match a while ago, I thought they clicked very well. And obviously there were not a lot of eyes on Rhea Ripley at that time. And I know some people were a little bit annoyed that Charlotte, you know, was champion and everything. Shout out to Nate. Much love. In fact, I want to give a couple of more shout outs if you don't mind. Let's get it before we talk about the women. Oh, that doesn't look good. That looks good. James Campbell. Money in the Bank, best show of the year so far. Oh, I thought you were talking about my podcast. What were the Money in the Bank briefcases I bought made of? Metal or plastic? They are plastic, hard plastic. I will tell you that they are strong enough where they're not gonna fill it with heavy things. But I've owned all 3 Money in the Bank briefcases they've had. The green, the blue, and the yellow, I think it is. I think I may even still have 1 or 2. But I gave Joey Numbers a computer or a mixer a year ago. I think that's right. A year ago, Joey Numbers, Wrestling Soup, they were starting to upgrade his computer equipment, his sound equipment. So I believe I sent them a mixer. And rather than just put it in a box with a label, I put it in a Money in the Bank briefcase. I think I sent the signed Don Tony photo also just to be a prick. You know, I didn't charge him for it. But they're strong. They're pretty strong. They're not bad. They do come with a combination lock, and it does come with a set of keys. And the lock, let me put it this way. The lock can be compromised with a screwdriver like this. It's hard plastic. But they're not bad. I bought a bunch of them. I got them Christmas time, and I think 19. I thought they were well worth it. And every time I've only given away 2 in a contest, one about a year and a half ago, and I gave one to A.S.H 7607 a couple of weeks ago. Everybody loved them. So if you're thinking about getting one, my honest opinion, I would not spend anything above like $70, $60. If you could get one a little bit cheaper, and you might even be able to get one on eBay where somebody bought it and never used it. You could get one for like $40 or $50. I would pick it up. Nero Faye, I don't know the national anthem like that. I can't sing that. I thank you for the super chat, my buddy. Maybe I'll do that in the next members only Q&A video. Maybe I'll do it over there. By the way, tomorrow the Q&A will be posted. I got pretty much all of it done already. I just figured with everything with Money in the Bank today, we hold off on it. So SRH John 07, can we say wrestling is officially back and back to normal? Not back to normal yet. There's some returns we still need to have happen. There's still some storylines that need to be changed. There's some characters that need to be tweaked a little bit. And it's not just WWE. Right now, you're basically starting to get back to normal. There's a lot of things that need to fall into place. The one thing, and that's the reason why I say to each and every one of you out there, why wrestling for the next 4.5 months is really going to be phenomenal, seriously. Not because I'm hopeful or happy or confident about it, but everything is going to be put in full speed where you're just going to be banging it out and banging it out and banging it out and putting so much behind it that it's just, everybody's going to try to one-up each other. And I think that's a mistake. Focused on your own product. I mean, AEW, I thought was great on Wednesday, and they did a million viewers against the NBA playoffs. No mention of WWE, no cheap shots, no insults. Worry about what's good about your product, not what's bad about somebody else. So you're going to see a lot of rebuilding. Look at Cena with Roman Reigns. There's a lot of things that WWE held off with for months and months and months. A lot of you may remember right after WrestleMania, I said, this year's WrestleMania is SummerSlam. And at the time, a lot of people were confused. They're like, what the fuck is he talking about? Remember when Roman Reigns first came up and they were going to split the Shield? And I said, Roman Reigns is going to get the John Cena push. And my co-host at the time and said, that doesn't make sense. Roman Reigns doesn't wrestle like John Cena at all. I said, no. The crowd, the fans, the kids, Roman Reigns was going to be the heir apparent to John Cena, the role model, everything like that. And sure enough, that's what happened. When I said back in April that SummerSlam is going to be this year's WrestleMania, a lot of people didn't understand at the time. But once WWE realized that they were going to be able to go back to live fans in July and August. Remember last year? What did I say every week? July, August, July. I got lucky. I guessed. I admit I guessed. But once they knew they could get back to July, August, because what WWE was doing since March is they were monitoring a whole bunch of states, as did AEW and others, and it made total sense. They were monitoring what the mask mandates were. They were also monitoring the infection rate. They were monitoring the vaccination levels. There was a lot of states that AEW and WWE still do not want to go to. But once they were able to get Texas, get this. That's why when people were saying, oh, WWE is just following AEW or vice versa, that's stupid. Because they're looking at the same numbers as each other, and they're going to the states that are the safest to go to, that that's the most relaxed. And that's what happened. Once they realized that was happening, and they were going to get SummerSlam in Las Vegas for 70,000 people, you know, COVID is much different now compared to April. I mean, I know there's an uptick in cases, but as they've now said, 99.5% of people who have died from COVID now have been unvaccinated. 0.5% of people who have been vaccinated have died from it. And the people who still get sick after being vaccinated, those are the ones that have very poor immunity problems. They have problems with, you know, health issues besides it. How many times have you heard somebody goes out in the cold, gets a cold, next thing you know, they get pneumonia and pass away? Not everybody's immune system is strong. When your immune system is low, you could get a cold and drop dead. You could get pneumonia and drop dead. You could drop some food off of the floor. They go 2-second rule and eat it and get seriously sick from it. If you're in some decent health and you're vaccinated, the chances of getting sick is almost none. That's just a fact. So once they realize that they can do all of this, and I think that's part of the reason why we have not seen Nia Jax, you know, as much in the ring as before. She is one that it's not vaccinated. And others, I have a feeling some people who are not vaccinated are not going to be used in the same scenario as others. I could be wrong, but, you know, don't discount that. You figure out who is not vaccinated. You would not be surprised if you see them more in positions where they're not around a lot of people. So, I wouldn't say wrestling is back to normal, but it's back. It's back. Thank you, Nate, again, for the kind words, my friend. Glad you're enjoying it. By the way, for all of you who are still with me, and I seriously thank you, because I know there's so many shows out there doing recaps right now. If you would be so kind, if you could just take a moment and smash that like button. It's not centered perfectly tonight, but hit that thumbs up. I'd love to see that thumbs up, getting the triple digits before we get to the next match. But thank you, as always. SoFly, are you serious, man? SoFly, happy birthday, my brother. One of the coolest cats that supports everything I do. Everyone in the chat room, seriously, you would put a big smile on my face right now if you just typed a little happy birthday for SoFly. Seriously. So happy birthday, my friend. Take note that he doesn't post his age, though. I'm only kidding. He sees a lot younger than me. But happy birthday, my brother. Much love. Seriously. And I kind of, you know what? I got to send you something for your birthday. So reach out to me on email. DonTony@DonTony.com. I have a few things in mind. Mark Anderson, Charlotte winning the women's championship again. Here is his reaction. We're going to go right back to that. Mark, hold that thought for 1 second. I get right back to you. And SRH John 07, he agrees with that. He's happy that AEW, Impact, WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor has a lot of buzz going on. Really excited. Look, man, Impact, I know when they went off the air yesterday, it was a little bit cacas. But Jay White showing up and seeing all these other feds, like I said, it's got to equate in the ratings. They still only do $1.50 in the ratings. Then obviously this is just satisfying a very, very small audience out there. I don't think that's what Impact is gunning for. But the fact that all of these smaller promotions, MLW's, you know, probably, I personally think MLW has the biggest traction right now amongst all the promotions. I know Impact seems like it has the most loaded roster. Mickey James making an appearance on the road, but these are rentals. And I don't mean to treat anybody like that, but they're rentals. Let's see Impact's roster 6 months from now. A lot of fans know that. If they feel that somebody from their Fed is showing up there for a cup of coffee, you know, they're probably going to just stick with their Fed, you know? But as a wrestling fan, that's why I say for the people out there, if you think WWE sucks right now, there is so much else to choose from. If you don't like AEW and you don't like this, you don't like that, give the other promotion. I understand that you're tweeting about these smaller promotions might only get you 5 likes instead of 50, but what do you want to do? Be a happy wrestling fan or disgruntled fan that gets a lot of likes? You know, I'd rather be a happy wrestling fan. Nero Faye sends the virtual beer to SoFly. Much love. Oh. There we go. I don't have them labeled, but I still have this. I thought it was the Green Giant one. We deleted it because Braun Strowman is no longer in the company. So yes, happy birthday, SoFly. Let's get back to the recap. Charlotte Flair. Mark Anderson didn't like it. A lot of you didn't like it. I enjoyed it. Let's talk about it. Let's get this out of here. Not you, but look, no question, Rhea Ripley is a little rattled by how she is being treated online, especially. She did an interview over the weekend, and she defended Charlotte Flair. And, you know, she basically made a comment that someone doesn't necessarily have to be a heel or a babyface. Now, some people thought that comment was stupid, but that's Rhea Ripley basically defending her employer, WWE, for utilizing her the way she is right now, because there are a lot of fans that even ask me, are we supposed to cheer Rhea Ripley or boo her? Because remember, she was in the corner with Dana Brooke and Liv Morgan in the back and this and that. By the way, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is true. Hopefully I have the answer by tomorrow. Have any of you heard rumors that Dana Brooke is pregnant? I just want to know because someone DM'd me yesterday and then someone else DM'd me today, and I started to see a couple of tweets out there. Congratulations, Dana. I don't know if it's true, but Dana Brooke, you know, maybe that's the reason why they brought Mandy Rose to NXT. So I don't know if it's true. I'm not trying to spread a rumor. Do not take this as fact. I don't know. All I know is that a few people that don't know each other sent me DMs, and I saw some other people congratulating her. Now, she was on social media. So believe me, if I think there's a possible pregnancy, and a lot of you out there think it's a possible pregnancy, and she sees it, I would think that she would dispel that like this. Of course, you don't want to dispel every rumor that floats around there, but this one is a little bit different, and it's gotten some traction that I would think that Dana Brooke, all she's got to do is go on her Instagram or go on Twitter and say, look, guys, you know, I appreciate the congratulations, but let me just let you know right now, I'm not pregnant. That's it. That's it. So I don't know. I don't know. So Charlotte versus Rhea. So a lot of people don't know what to do about Rhea Ripley. We get the match, starts off very slow, very, I don't want to say sloppy, but, you know, look, we obviously know that wrestlers communicate with each other during the match, but there was a couple of times tonight where, like, Rhea grabbed Charlotte from the corner of the ropes, and she's got her head right next to her, and you could see clearly on a high-definition TV, she's telling her the next move. Charlotte did it also, and it's not even attempted to be hidden. And the first couple of minutes of the match just seemed to fall flat. Then we started getting "We Want Becky" chants. They started low, got loud, got very loud. And it got to the point where if anybody was on Peacock tonight, the screen went black for a second or two. And the reason why the screen went black is because they did not want us to see, they censored Charlotte giving the middle finger to the fans. So they tried to censor her middle finger. Be fair to Flair's middle finger. So she gives the finger to the fans. She was pissed off about it. Rhea Ripley was not thrilled about the Becky chants as well. And the match was really, the match was really just not going very well. And you think about their last match that had an awful ending. You know, you remember the dumb disqualification stuff? And their whole feud since WrestleMania has not been very good. You know, they did the skit, Charlotte, she's acting like she can't walk, and then kicked everything just did not seem to click. Then something happened tonight. You go back and watch that match. You will agree 100% with me. There was one part in the match where Rhea won the fans over. And almost immediately after that, Charlotte won the fans over. Rhea Ripley had Charlotte, which looked like a front face headlock. And Rhea Ripley is in a crouch position. And Rhea Ripley then proceeds to suplex Charlotte Flair. But the way it happened, she was in a crouch position, and you could see that it's all upper body strength, literally pulling Charlotte up. And Charlotte obviously has to give a little bit of thrust as well. But the way it came off TV, props to all the fans that recognized how difficult and how much strength you need to pull a move off like that. And when she hit that suplex, the announcers put it over like, holy shit, what the fuck did we just see? The fans popped and ate it up, and you could feel suddenly, a burst of energy from the fans. Immediately after that, you have Rhea Ripley chopping Charlotte like 6-7 times. Charlotte no-selling it, just taking it, getting angrier, and you look at Charlotte's chest and it's beat red. And she's taking the chops, and now the crowd is going, woo, and they're going back and forth. And then she nails Rhea Ripley with a kick and then does the moonsault. This is all within 2 minutes of everything. She does the moonsault outside the ring, looked beautiful. And now all of a sudden, the crowd is into it. They're cheering, they're screaming, chanting for Charlotte, chanting for Rhea Ripley. Then Charlotte counters the riptide. Rhea Ripley tried to do the riptide, and Charlotte countered it into a DDT that just looked incredible on TV. Now you got the crowd chanting, "This is awesome." And, you know, again, I understand why WWE uses Charlotte like they do. When you have a gem like that is top of the game in the athletic department, the ability, telling a story. You know, I know some people think that she doesn't sell as well for others. Okay, fine, whatever. But everything about her is top notch. So if you don't like her being in a position of winning gold all the time, take it out on WWE. Don't take it out on her. You know, that's just my opinion about it. But when the crowd started chanting, "This is awesome," and when she hit the natural selection off the top rope, I mean, the crowd was just buzzing. The announcers were speechless. I mean, just from that suplex, from the crouched position by Rhea Ripley to the end, like I said, it's my favorite match of the night outside of the Royal Rumble matches. They tore it up. They finally clicked. And I mean clicked. And you know, live fans are the reason behind that. The Becky chant, instead of having LED screens and just that white noise that we hear, that doesn't happen tonight on that level. Those Becky chants pissed off Charlotte for real. You have heard interviews from Hall of Famers, current stars, AEW, WWE, everywhere else. You've heard stars say that one of the things that pissed them off more than anything, not just the what chants, but what pissed them off more than anything is when they're having a match and the fans are chanting for someone else. That pisses people off. So it really got under his skin. I mean, you think WWE was happy that Charlotte's going around giving everybody the middle finger? Peacock freaking censored it. Censor that. As dumb as that sounds. It's okay to rip a piece of a chair, and yank someone's mouth with it and do other violent shit, but the finger, oh, no. Good night, AS7607. Check out the rest of the show tomorrow. Have a great night. I know tomorrow a lot of you got to get up. We'll be taking calls in a couple of moments. We're almost done. But they tore it up. Now, Charlotte with the figure 8 gets the win. A lot of people not thrilled about it. The crowd popped. Because as much as you may not like Charlotte in that position, you know, she delivers. And again, you got to look one step ahead. If Becky Lynch is returning, and if Becky Lynch returns to Raw, who do you want Becky Lynch to go after first? Rhea Ripley or Charlotte? And again, there's a possibility it might be a 3-way. But they want to play safe with it. Clear-cut heel, clear-cut babyface. They could do a little damage control with Rhea Ripley in the process. I'm fine with it. Look, I tell you, Charlotte is one of the most interesting cases. And I've been a fan since 79. She's one of the most interesting because I'm a big fan of her work. And I know a lot of you out there who absolutely love Charlotte as well. But I also know a lot of you out there that despise her. And a lot of you that absolutely don't even want to watch her work. You know, you could despise someone and want to see them get their ass kicked. There's a lot of you out there that like, I'm not even interested in seeing her perform. So there's not that many people that have that dramatic dynamic, you know. And you can't really put Cena or Reigns in there either because, you know, depending on who the demographic was, they got behind them. But Sam, I understand what you're saying. Becky Lynch won't go to Raw because Seth Rollins is on SmackDown and all that stuff. But, you know, I'm not so sure about that. Becky Lynch might... Look, you're going to have Sasha Banks. If Sasha returns and feuds with Bianca, you do not, in my opinion, you do not bring back Becky Lynch and Sasha on the same brand. You're not going to drain out some of the Becky support. And I understand they're not going to go against each other, but you want all that buzz to be for one of those two women on SmackDown. No reason why you can't move Becky to SmackDown with the draft. But right now, I think if you're going to bring Sasha back to SmackDown and she's going to feud with Bianca, you put Becky Lynch on Raw. If you don't want Becky Lynch on Raw and you just want Rhea and Charlotte to continue their feud, fine. What do you think, Aaliyah's going to come in and contend? I just hope Nikki A.S.H. doesn't cash in that briefcase quickly. Because remember, they did that beat the clock stuff not too long ago where she beat Charlotte. I think she also beat Rhea Ripley. So I don't want this confidence thing. Like, I could become women's champion right now and cash in the briefcase because I'm not sure if that's going to happen anytime soon. Nate, welcome to the family, Nate. Thank you very much, my friend. Like I said, I'm sorry about the Streamlab stuff earlier because now I'm going to start messing with the graphics that even though sometimes I wait a few minutes to answer a super chat, you're alerted on the screen right away. I'll work on that tomorrow. I'll fix that. We'll tweak that and get that cleared up. But thank you, my friend. So Charlotte gets the win. Decent match. I mean, really picked it up after that spot. And I don't think anybody should complain at all. That was a phenomenal match. Now, this one again, I am so sorry for everyone out there who had technical difficulties and missed a substantial, in fact, I know some of you even missed some of the women's match too because of the technical difficulties. There was a funny segment, as I said earlier, in the back. We had, I tell you, the dynamic with Riddle and Boogs was pretty cool, man. I mean, I don't know, it just felt like two guys on the beach, like burnt out, I don't know. They just clicked. But Riddle convincing Boogs to do Randy Orton's theme and Nakamura doing the pose. And then the best part was, and did I take the screenshot? I didn't take the screenshot. But as this is going down, Kevin Owens is standing in the corner just looking at this shit. And my God, the pop that Kevin Owens got. That guy is, that's one thing that's cool about having fans back. That must have felt so good to him. He got an insane pop from the crowd. Kevin Owens comes out. We had the other guys come out. And again, a lot of you had the technical difficulties. But like, as I was going to say before, when Kevin Owens is in a Money in the Bank ladder match, what is a Money in the Bank ladder match without at least one spot of this? For some reason, Kevin Owens has to go spine first on a ladder. It always has to happen. You look at every... no, I don't think Kevin Owens is the new CM Punk, Ankit. I know why you're saying that, and that is not bad at all, especially where they came from and everything. But CM Punk had the underground, Kevin Owens doesn't feel like that outcast underground that would go up against authority. I mean, I understand why you're saying it, but Kevin Owens just is more like just one of us, like a regular family man guy, is just killing his body for us, doing his stunners. He's got a lot more charisma than CM Punk, in my opinion. This is my opinion. Yeah, Kevin Owens is his own character. It's a great point, Steinhardt. But I understand what you say that. It's not bad. But Kevin Owens is super over. But you could tell tonight that this was about Big E winning this match. You could tell by the fans they wanted Big E to win the match. We had a couple of confrontations with Drew McIntyre and Big E, and you could see the crowd was behind Drew also, but they wanted Big E to win this. Riddle, to me, is the unsung hero in this match. But the one who entertained me the most, and it's not even close, John Morrison. That crowd, you got, was it 15,000 plus chanting Johnny Drip Drip during that? There was one point where there was a ladder in the ring and Nakamura was on the ground. Well, he was standing up and Morrison was on the ladder. Somehow he leaps over the ladder and does one of his crazy flips and lands on Nakamura, and it was just insane. The crowd was holy shit chants, Johnny Drip Drip chants. Ricochet. There was one point, Ricochet goes over the top rope, dives onto everyone. Then Riddle hits a splash. That's when you had Drew McIntyre and Big E, and I'm referencing my notes because there's definitely a couple of moves that I know you didn't see that you got to go back and watch. You got to go back and watch this. But Drew and Big E are in the ring together, crowd heavily behind Big E. Then Rollins flips over the ladder onto Nakamura. Johnny Drip Drip chants because of his spinning dive over a ladder onto Nakamura. And then you got a point where Morrison and Rollins were working together. And I tell you, if you go back on social media, and I was paying close attention to this, there are a lot of people that really like Morrison and Rollins as a tag team. Go back and see. It wasn't just couple of handful of people, but the double teaming that they were doing during that match, a lot of people were online. Like, I could dig them as a tag team. Obviously, WWE's not going that route, but Rollins and Morrison, they were clicking for a little while. They were using the ladders, but the fans were chanting that they wanted tables. Drew McIntyre got laid out on a ladder. Morrison tried to do a flip onto Drew, but missed almost completely, and we thought he might have injured his arm. And then if you remember, Rollins took the ladder and teased that he was going to still work with Morrison, but instead hit Morrison with the ladder very, very lightly. Morrison goes out the ring. So now we're a little concerned, thinking that Morrison might be injured. Seth Rollins tries to climb the ladder. He's stopped by Riddle. Riddle hits an RKO on Seth Rollins. Nakamura and Riddle start going at it. A lot of exchange of kicks. Crowd was into it. Greeted with a double claymore by Drew McIntyre. And crowd loved it. Crowd loved it. After a while, behind Drew McIntyre as well. Drew with a future shock DDT onto Big E. Then probably one of the coolest moments of the night. Riddle tried to climb the ladder. Ricochet jumps from the side of the ring, leaps onto the ladder. Now, we've seen Shelton Benjamin do that before. I think we've seen Kofi do that before. But Ricochet jumps onto the ladder, and Riddle goes down. Riddle then takes the ladder and tries to tilt it and dump Ricochet onto the floor. Riddle takes the ladder and starts tilting it, and Ricochet dives off the ladder and lands on the top rope, and then dives off the top rope and does a flip onto everybody outside the ring. And it just looked crazy. And the crowd was loving it. Crowd was loving it. When Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore kick onto Rollins, when Drew went 3, 2, 1, listen to how loud that crowd was. The crowd was into it. But one thing that I think we all were not thrilled about, and I think we kind of expected this to happen. I even think we talked about it on Friday. Jinder Mahal ruins the party for Drew McIntyre. You had Veer and Shanky. They hit the ring. They start attacking Drew McIntyre. Jinder Mahal with chair shots to Drew outside the ring. And basically, they're the ones taking out Drew. So that's going to be the storyline going further in the feud, that after what Drew did to Jinder's motorcycle, which is actually Drew's motorcycle, which if you've seen the ads, there's a toy out there where you could take apart Drew's motorcycle. So Jinder versus Drew will be the feud going forward. Then Morrison finally gets back into this match. Nakamura with a GTS on Rollins. Then Nakamura climbs the ladder. And then I know those drip sticks are goofy and corny, but it made total sense tonight. Nakamura is climbing the ladder, and Morrison gets on the ladder and just hits the drip stick, sprays it right in Nakamura, and the crowd is loving every minute of it. Kevin Owens laid out twice with some vicious shots with the ladder. One picture I showed you already, but another one where Seth Rollins powerbombed. He basically lifted Kevin Owens, and there was a ladder laid out outside the ring, and he just throws Kevin Owens all over the top rope and lands really, really awkwardly on the ladder. Crowd chanting, "Holy shit." I mean, as I said before, of all of the non-Money in the Bank ladder matches tonight, other than those two matches, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley was my favorite match of the night. If I include the ladder matches as well, the men's Money in the Bank match was killer for me. Every single person in that match did insane shit. Maybe Drew was more ground game, but even Drew's stuff worked really well. Seth Rollins after he powerbombs Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins climbs the ladder, and the crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." And at one point, some people thought that Seth Rollins was going to lift that briefcase. I mean, there was no one else near the ring, and the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." So it seemed like the crowd would have been fine if Seth Rollins would have won that briefcase. And I know there's a lot of people that started predicting Rollins as the winner, you know, in the predictions. But Big E stops Seth Rollins and does his own insane move. Hits the big ending, off the ladder to Rollins, to the apron, you know, to the ring, and another holy shit chant. I mean, that big ending that Big E hit from near the top of the ladder, I mean, that was a beautiful spot. It was a beautiful spot. And then Big E starts climbing the ladder. And anybody that's my age that goes back to the Backlund years, if any of you out there don't know what I'm talking about, if you go and watch, it's on the WWE Network overseas. I don't know if it's on Peacock right now, but I know the video's on their website. If you go and watch the cage match between Stan Hansen and Bob Backlund, whenever Bob Backlund used to have cage matches, something would happen 9 times out of 10. And what would happen at the very end of the match is that when Backlund was about to exit the cage, because you always had to exit the cage to win, like when he started getting to the end, because I really don't recall any other wrestler where this would happen or over and over and over. But when he would get to like right near the door, you know, where the cage door opens, you would hear the crowd start to erupt. You hear like a rumbling of noise. And then when the door opens up, the noise just, you hear it getting louder and louder. Then when he actually starts walking out the door, you hear this next level of eruption. And then when he gets his feet on the floor, crowd goes nuts. You actually hear the progression, like the decibel level going up. And that's what happened with Big E tonight. It was, we've seen that before with ladder matches. You know, somebody's about to get the title, and again, you could hear it getting louder. But tonight reminded me so old school because it was so clear. As he started up those steps, you could hear the crowd, decibel, just getting loud. And when he got the briefcase, the crowd went nuts. Crowd went nuts. So Big E wins the briefcase. Everybody was off their seat. Everybody, for the most part, had their hands up in the air. I mean, it was just beautiful to see. Celebrating with the fans. I know some of you were sick of the guys in the cowboy hats. It was funny when Roman Reigns told one of them, "Shut up." I thought that was pretty funny. But awesome. Absolutely awesome. I know a lot of us expected Big E to win it, and he got it. But I tell you, a lot of people, I think, really were rooting for Riddle. I mean, everybody loved Johnny Drip Drip's work. You know, they popped almost for everybody that climbed the ladder, you know, but they wanted Big E to win. Now let's see where it goes from here. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious Big E versus Lashley is what everybody's expecting. So now we go to the main event. And the thing with the main event, and I think almost all of you will agree on this, this match, up to when Roman Reigns attempted the spear outside the ring and Edge moved out of the way and Roman Reigns speared the barricade. Up to that point, a lot of fans were not very much into this match online. I thought it told a great story. You know, early on, you know, a lot of cockiness between both guys. There was a loud, "Let's go Roman, let's go Edge, let's go," and it kind of reminded you of "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Let's go." It was very loud. "Let's go Roman, let's go Edge." And Roman acknowledging the crowd. And how does he do that? the crowd was chanting his name, and he's like, acknowledge me, acknowledge me. So it was good. It was fun. I mean, for a good portion of the first half of this match, I think it went a lot slower than what people wanted. Teasing that Edge may have injured his neck, couple of submission moves. Edge got a crazy-ass pop once again coming out. Crowd was clearly behind Edge, but because a lot of people, and I know we talked about this on Friday, that some people are going to feel that Roman Reigns is so badass in his character that people were going to cheer for Roman Reigns. You know, you don't have the heat like before. Now with Cena in the picture, now it's going to be really interesting, because if Roman Reigns, I don't want to jump ahead, but I'll say this right now. If Roman Reigns cuts a promo on Cena that you're never here, and I'm here every single week, you know, crowd's got to get behind that shit. You know the crowd's going to cheer for that because it's a true fact. That's what they wanted to do with the Goldberg stuff. Problem is, Goldberg ended up taking on Drew McIntyre, not Roman Reigns. A lot of you saw that coming with Roman Reigns. It just makes sense. Someone is badass and they're working their ass off and they're doing good at what they do and they're committed to doing what they do. There's an appreciation level. You know, that's why a lot of people don't understand. Why is Adam Cole getting cheered in NXT? Why is Legado del Fantasma getting cheered in NXT? The heels. It's a lot deeper than that. This was, Soulfly, you say it perfectly. For the first half of this match, this was very old school. Told the story. It took its time. It developed. You had an attempted spear outside the ring. Edge moves out of the way. Roman Reigns goes right through. And crowd is loving it. We had a couple of submission moves early on. You know, this is not the chair. This is, there was one thing too with tonight. When Edge got the piece of the chair, I don't know if any of you noticed it. You know, this reminds me of Sheamus. Remember when Sheamus took on Ricochet and Ricochet had to have that look on his face? I can't do it. It hurts my mouth. Then Humberto Carrillo, Sheamus had to do that too. Like everybody had to have that visual, like showing him face being stretched. Then we had Edge with Roman Reigns, then Jey Uso, then Jimmy Uso with the piece of the chair in their mouth. Last week they showed the side by side by side. So tonight when Edge grabbed the piece of the chair and started pulling back on Roman Reigns again. I don't know if you noticed it. I got to take this off of that. Did you notice how Roman Reigns with his hair? He's got to make sure that the hair is not covering the eyes when he's like suffering in pain. Let me make sure my hair is not in the way. Yes, this thing hurts, man. Seriously. I tell you, as goofy as that looked on TV when Sheamus was doing that, I invite all of you right now from home, take your fingers and stretch it and tell me how it feels. You'll actually feel like sides of your lips. You're going to feel like skin cracking. It's not supposed to stretch like that. It hurts. I think I did that when it first happened. I think I used it as a thumbnail and my mouth was bleeding. I literally stretched gum over here and it was bleeding. It hurts. So they're brawling throughout the match. You know, we got some submissions. Oh, that's jumping a little bit ahead. Sorry. We got a couple of submission moves in the ring. A lot of back and forth brawling. Roman Reigns attempts a spear outside the ring. Edge moves out of the way. The barricade explodes. Then Edge attempts his own spear. First of all, he stops Charles Robinson from counting Roman Reigns out because he doesn't want to win on a count out. You don't win the championship on a count out. So Edge stops the count, leaves the ring, attempts a spear, and nails Roman Reigns, and they knock the left side of the barricade. So the complete side of the barricade is laid out. Edge gets Roman Reigns with a spear, so Roman Reigns goes through the barricade twice. Now we're thinking there's a possibility, Edge could possibly pull this off. I mean, most of us didn't think so, but you go tweet, unless people tweeted and deleted, there was a decent number of people like, Edge should win. It makes sense for the Summits, for SummerSlam. I don't know what that meant, but all right, whatever. So they get it back in the ring because Edge has got to win it inside the ring. And we get a ref bump. And look, I know some of Charles Robinson's ref bumps are kind of goofy. This one came off a little lame because, they tried to play off, that when Roman Reigns hit Edge fell backwards and ran into Charles Robinson. And I guess they tried to play off that maybe Charles Robinson's leg buckled or something like that. But then he goes outside the ring, and then they hit the camera shot on him a little bit later, and Charles Robinson is like holding his head. And it just, I don't know, it looked a little bit goofy. It wasn't a ref bump where he's knocked out, which would have made more sense. But there's supposedly a doctor attending to him outside the ring, or a trainer. And yeah, he chop blocked Charles Robinson. But Charles Robinson, you go back and you look when they put the camera on, he's holding his head. And it looked kind of stupid. Edge. Oh, and there was another point. I know some of you picked up on this. Edge goes for the pin. There's no referee in the ring. And nobody's counting. The fans are counting. The fans are going 1, 2. And Roman Reigns kicked out. There was no ref in it. So now a ref comes in and Edge attempts to pin him again. And I tell you, props to Roman Reigns for not getting a little bit confused there. Because when Roman Reigns kicked out and there was no ref there, he thought the ref was already in there. So when they did the pin the second time around, I wouldn't have been surprised if he was confused by that. But he did kick out the second time. Another ref had come out. Usos hit, go down the rampway. We could tell because the crowd is really getting loud and booing for it because they really just wanted it to be Edge versus Roman Reigns. But the Usos are stopped by the Mysterios. So they brawl to the back. So now we're back in the ring and we get what we all was worried had to happen. Seth Rollins hits the ring, kicks Edge in the head. Now, when Seth Rollins did not win the Money in the Bank ladder match, Seth Rollins was interviewed in the back, and he was very, very angry. And basically he said, I should not have been in this Money in the Bank ladder match. I should have been in the Universal title match. And he felt that Edge stole it from him. So even though for most of us, the seeds were already planted that Seth Rollins and Edge was going to take place at SummerSlam, they did that tonight, and almost everybody was assured that Seth Rollins was going to get involved in the main event. Now, a lot of you know already that my fiance is a wrestling fan. Thank God, but she notices little things too. And what she said to me tonight was, she's like, now look at the picture. She says to me, she's like, that looked ridiculous with Seth Rollins slapping his leg while he's kicking Edge in the head. And look at Seth Rollins' right hand. So, I remember when everybody was saying that WWE banned the leg slapped and all, which was not true. But, you got to try to conceal it a little bit. But, Seth kicks Edge in the head and storms off. Ultimately, Roman Reigns hits the spear and gets the win. Yeah, a lot of people in the chat right now are saying they didn't catch that. They didn't catch it. It was funny because she caught it. She's like, oh, that looked kind of stupid. I said, what? He's like, he slapped his leg while he was kicking him in the head. Like, like, she doesn't understand, like, leg slaps and all that. But it was so clear, and she pointed that out. That's why I had to get the screenshot. So Roman Reigns wins. So then Seth Rollins hits the ring. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns have a stare down. Now, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns could happen in September or October. It could very well happen. I don't think John Cena is defeating Roman Reigns, because I know some of you already thought one step ahead. Well, what if John Cena beats Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins could take on John Cena, and that's a rivalry rekindled? Don't know if that's going to happen. So Seth Rollins has a brief stare down with Roman Reigns, then goes after Edge again. And then a weird thing. They brawl into the crowd. Roman Reigns is still standing in the ring. We have Paul Heyman with a microphone in hand. So now we're thinking, okay, what is something else going to happen? So Roman Reigns gets on the mic and, just acknowledges his win. And the storyline lately is there's nobody left. So he says a couple of words, puts the mic down. Now I don't see no banner pop up. So I'm thinking, somebody got to come out. And the only two people, like I said at the beginning of the show, I thought about was either Cena or Brock Lesnar. But Cena versus Roman Reigns was the match that we've been talking about is going to happen at SummerSlam. And sure enough, Cena's music hits and the crowd goes nuts. I mean, absolutely nuts. I mean, Cena, looks like, he always does. And he's got his shirt. He had the little towel also. And he hits the ring. Has a little bit of a stare down with Roman Reigns. I'm sorry if I didn't get the perfect screenshot for tonight. I literally went live 2 minutes after the pay-per-view went off the air. But they had a brief stare down, and the crowd is loving it. Crowd is loving it. So Cena is back. Yeah, they went crazy. They went crazy. Look, expect a lot of surprises crammed in for the next couple of weeks. You're not going to throw every surprise out there in 1 week. You will see more happen from time to time. AEW plans on some surprises as well. So let's see if AEW speeds up some of their surprises because of what's going on with WWE. Personally, I don't think AEW should change any of their plans, even if WWE is doing what they're doing. They sold out today. They sold out Friday. There's going to be sellouts. Some areas is not going to be sellouts. But the point is, fans are just loving that wrestling is getting back to normal a little bit. And these promotions want to get as many paid fans to their shows because that is crazy-ass money and profit if they could get a lot of people in these buildings. Especially that a lot of these buildings, and this is something that nobody talks about, a lot of these buildings, they're offering cheaper prices because they're trying to recoup and they're trying to regain some money that they lost. I know with some places, they raise the prices to try to get back the money quickly, but that's not the case. Even me, Saturday, I went and I set up, put a small deposit down on a hall to have a wedding reception for me. And I'm not going to say what I paid or what they're offering, but I can tell you that the prices per person they offered is about 25% of what they were, 25% less of what they were 2 years ago, because they're trying to book as many dates as possible, get as much money as in there, and the more money to get in there, the quicker you can get back to a little bit more normalcy. So be prepared for the surprises. Be prepared. It's funny, especially with WWE. AEW just doesn't have enough years yet, which is totally understandable. But WWE, when it gets within a certain time to WrestleMania, it always feels like the storylines really pick up and we get some surprises, we get some twists, some turns, and just feels like wrestling gets to a different level right up to WrestleMania and even shortly thereafter. And then it goes back to some lower, playing field for a while. Right now, it feels like that time where you feel like leading up to WrestleMania, which will be SummerSlam, and then you'll see some other buzz after that, and that'll go through 2021. And why I say it's going to be a really, really good 5 months is, remember, after we get through December, we're now in Royal Rumble territory. Royal Rumble happens, now you're on the road to WrestleMania. So that's why I say you're not going to have a 2-3 month gap of just lulls where you're just trying to get. How many pay-per-views did it just feel like, oh, they're just going through this pay-per-view, try to get to the next one? Remember the bump in the road stuff that we talked about? You're not going to have that for the foreseeable future, which is awesome. So for me, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give this pay-per-view tonight, I give it a 9. Give it a 9. The Mysterio versus the Usos was a lot of fun. AJ Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders was okay. The women's ladder match, for what it was very good. Had a couple of flaws. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match was awesome. Roman Reigns versus Edge was excellent. Bobby Lashley versus Kofi, for storyline purposes, was excellent, but it was very one-sided. So I don't know if people would like it as much. There really wasn't anything horrible tonight. My favorite match, if we don't include the ladder matches, my favorite match was Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. If I include every match tonight, then I go with the men's ladder match. Least favorite match tonight, AJ Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders. It just felt like a Raw match for me. I don't know how you all feel, but we're at 2 hours and 14 minutes. I will be more than happy to open the phone lines for a little while if you want to call in. Now, I did not lift the Do Not Disturb yet. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, it would be so unfair for me not to acknowledge a few people. Actually, I think we only have to acknowledge one. All right, so I want to give a special shout out. Jeffrey Collins. After seeing that crowd on Money in the Bank, makes him more excited to be in the crowd for SummerSlam in Vegas. He lives in Vegas, by the way, which I'm a little jealous. We're actually thinking about going to Vegas on a honeymoon, by the way. God willing, nothing statewide will cancel its COVID-wise. Look, as we've talked about before, COVID is going to be around for a few years. As long as there's enough people that are unvaccinated, there's always going to be that elevated risk of unvaccinated people getting COVID. Vaccinated people with bad immune systems have a risk as well. The good thing is that we have so many people vaccinated that, the chances of getting into serious territory, if you look at the numbers that are elevated big time, those areas have very low vaccination numbers. So hopefully those areas start picking it up a little bit. I'm not worried. But then again, I'm not a health expert. I think you'll be fine. I really do. I think you'll be fine. You didn't hear any super spreader claims for AEW's pay-per-view that came and went with live fans. You didn't hear any super spreader claims for their, even though Dynamite was only 5 days ago. But you're not going to hear claims of super spreaders for all these events. And as each week goes by and you have this many fans together, and you don't hear that, oh my God, there's reported like 1,000 people that went to you're not going to hear things like, you didn't even hear that at WrestleMania. So I think you'll be good to go. So now, if you have any comments about tonight's pay-per-view, anything you really want to vent on, or you have an opinion on something, you're more than welcome to call in. Just like I said, if you have something specific, bring it up. I'd like to take as many calls as possible. I don't think anybody, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I don't think anybody tuning in right now wants to hear someone call in and say, yeah, I love the show. I think we all did. You know what I mean? Like, if you have something specific, by all means, and let's keep the flow. Let's keep the flow. I took the do not disturb off, so if you want to call in, 225-366-8669. We will manage calling in a little bit better in the future. Make it earlier. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hi, this is Cena.
Hey, C-Man, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, not bad. What'd you think of Money in the Bank?
Thought it was awesome.
What do you think about Cena being back?
I was shocked, honestly. I popped out of my chair.
It's nice when we get moments like that.
Yeah, definitely. And good to have the crowd back.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's on your mind specifically about Money in the Bank tonight?
Just that.
What do you think about Charlotte winning the belt?
I thought that was a little. I thought that was a little bullshit. Like, okay. I thought Rhea should have retained, but I knew they were going to give it to Charlotte.
It
was a good match, though.
Somebody pointed out to me during the match tonight that she's wearing green. And apparently when Charlotte wears green, she usually wears green when there's title changes. I don't know how accurate that is. I did see a few pictures of her title reigns, and she is wearing green. So I don't know if that's, really a solid fact, but I know there's a lot of people.
She was wearing green?
Yeah, because she was wearing green. Like, a lot of her outfits when she won titles, she was wearing green. But, like I said, if Becky Lynch makes a return and she feuds with Charlotte, then it might be worth for Charlotte to have gotten the win. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are not thrilled about that tonight. I think, Rhea Ripley will get it back. I think right now, though, it's just not working as well as I think WWE expected it to.
I honestly think it should come down to a triple threat. Charlotte, Rhea, and Becky. Yeah.
That would be interesting. It's just instead of Ronda Rousey, you got Rhea Ripley this time.
Yeah.
And they work well together. I think a lot of people forget how great Becky and Charlotte do work together. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, maybe it'll be a triple threat. It's just, then what's next for Asuka? Then you think about Naomi. Then you think about, if anybody else comes to the main roster. I know Toni Storm is going to be on SmackDown, but there's rumors that Aaliyah might be on Raw. I don't think Aaliyah would be any threat for any championship anytime soon. But, I thought the pay-per-view was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, C-Man, thank you for calling in. Good talking to you.
No problem. Yeah. Always good talking to you, Dante.
Same here, my friend. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Take care. All the best. 225. I don't want to say 225 Don Tony, because then if you don't have like a keypad in front of you that has the letters underneath the numbers, like on home phones you have that, but I recognize on cell phones we don't have that. So if I go 225 Don Tony, people are going to be like, okay, what? So 225-366-8669 or 833-366-8686. Want to shout out everybody who's tuning in on other social media platforms tonight. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
This is Mark Anderson.
Hey, Mark.
Hey.
What's going on?
In terms of Money in the Bank, I was really disappointed with how the main event started out. The Edge and Roman Reigns main event started out. It started out, first of all, it was boring. It started out slow, too many arm holds, and I felt like they should have just, started brawling from the start. Instead of just, doing so many arm holds and starting off really slow. And it took the energy out of the crowd, for a bit, if you might have noticed that. You know,
it took the energy out of people online too, because I saw a lot of people complaining. You know what it is? I think we could all agree this way. You know, I understand them trying to one-up each other in a psychological department, like Roman Reigns smirking at Edge and vice versa and everything. But the thing is, leading up to today, they've been using pieces of chairs. They've been attacking each other. They've been laying people out. They've been brawling all over the place. And to start off with chain wrestling, even Edge, he cut the promo Friday on SmackDown that he's got to be this maniacal son of a bitch. Maniacal son of a bitch means, you go balls out, attack, and start wailing on the person from moment one. And to see that very slow build, although it told a great story, it just didn't coincide with everything that's been going on. Edge only came back 2 weeks ago. So the fact that it came back the way he did, I think it's I miss the days of the Attitude Era where you would have a championship match and literally 30 seconds in the match, they throw each other outside the ring and they're brawling up the rampway in the crowd and just going balls out. I understand it wasn't a no DQ match, but, they let a lot slide. Well,
look, you're all about psychology, but, I'm all about, listen, they need to start brawling like right away instead of just, starting off slow and, doing the arm holds. It took energy out of me, too. I was like, come on already. And I was ready to crap on the whole match if the whole match went that way. But, until the end, until what happened at the end, okay, they started doing the spots at the end, spot fest at the end. And, that made it exciting. But, this is, Edge and Roman Reigns, especially Edge, he's like too talented, to be like starting off slow like that and, not being as energetic, in the beginning of the match. Even Roman Reigns, they're too talented for that to like just be, start off slow like that. They're too talented for that.
It picked up. If the match would have continued like that and then have Seth Rollins interference after a ref bump, then I think people would have been pissed off in the end. But look, it ended solid. It became a wild brawl. They used some weapons that they weren't supposed to. And then you had Cena come out. You know what I mean?
In
the end, you sent home everybody happy.
Yeah, at the end, that's when things picked up, and then and then Seth Rollins, and then Cena. Oh my goodness! Like I was like, I had like a reaction. Like it was like I marked out for Cena. I was like, oh my goodness! Like because at the end, like when Roman was talking, I was like, somebody's gonna come out. Somebody, when he, as soon as he picked up that microphone, I said someone's gonna come out, and then Cena music's hit, and and the rest is that. But yeah, the end, that's the highlight of it. And of course, my feelings with Charlotte winning, snore, bore. I'm sick and tired of it. It's like she's being shoved down our throats like Cena and Reigns were. She's like the John Cena of the women's division.
I totally get it. I'm just like
really sick of it. I'm ready for somebody new.
Yeah,
I'm ready for someone new and new matchups, because I'm just sick of it. I'm just ready for something new.
Yeah.
She's been dominating the division for like years and years now. So I just want
Becky Lynch.
Something new. I'm sick of it.
Hopefully Becky Lynch is the answer for now. I don't think anybody will complain. I'll be shocked if I have people saying, oh, now we got Becky, all shoved down our throats.
No, I want Becky back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think this is good. Becky's got to return now. Because even though Charlotte definitely warrants the position that she has, yes, too much, but they just like Cena showed up to divert that attention from Rollins causing technically Edge to lose. Cena shows up, okay, now we focus on here. Becky Lynch shows up tomorrow, okay, now we focus here on this. And you quickly forget about what happened with Ronda with Rhea and Charlotte. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. We'll be right back here to talk about it.
I mean, she has to show up tomorrow for people to forget and move on. It has to be tomorrow.
SmackDown had a nice surprise. Raw, Money in the Bank had a nice surprise. Now it's Raw's turn.
Yeah, now it's Raw's turn. So.
Yeah. All right, my friend.
All right,
well, let's see what happens tomorrow. We'll be taking calls tomorrow night. So
we will.
We'll see what happens.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. Have a good night, my friend. Take care.
Bye, Don Tony. Thank you.
All right. I saw that we had like 1 or 2 trolls in the chat. By the way, somebody said I'm still up. It's almost 2 a.m. Come on, man. When I get that love and support from all of you out there, I can't end the show early.
In case of a fast pickup, we ask you to let us know that you're not a voicemail system. So you need to press 1 to take
I have
call.
no idea what that was, but okay. That usually happens on my end. I had a security setting where you had to leave like a name. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, Don?
Hey, what's up?
So, overall, I thought that the pay-per-view was, well, first of all, of course, Peacock was always screwing up, and it just kept going off and on, and then eventually it just turned right off. So I couldn't even see the Cena return. So that's why when I heard about it, I was like, what? There's no way. Like, this has to be some kind of joke. But
I tell you, they have to address this. They really do. I mean, if Peacock can't handle a live feed, smoothly, and this keeps happening, something needs to be done about that because, yes, you're only paying a handful of dollars a month. That's not the point. It's not the point. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of fans plus coming back, the way that they are and having these big surprises. There's no excuse for that to happen. I thought Meltzer was, and I'm a big Meltzer fan, but I thought Meltzer was ridiculous today, actually thinking that the live event should have paused and stopped and waited until the feed was better. I don't know how you do that when all the wrestlers in the men's Money in the Bank match are already coming out. What are they going to do? Hang out in the ring and play musical chairs for a half an hour? There's just
Eugene did on Raw that one time.
Yeah, they need to improve this. They need to improve it. There's really the amount of content that Peacock streams. Mm-hmm. This is no excuse. There's really no excuse for this. And they're big enough where this should not happen. If there's a worldwide outage because of bad storms or something like that, then I could see it. But from what I saw online and checking out a few other things, there was no major storms or issues that would have caused anything like that to happen. And that happened nationwide.
Yeah, it did. Like, I remember when I was on Twitter and, like, literally everybody else was saying, like, dude, I'm having problems. And I was responding, like, dude, me too. Like, my feed is not working out. It's going crazy.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of people. I miss the network. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I was a network subscriber from day one to the end. And, sucks. But I feel bad that you weren't able to see some of it. But if WWE does right, they should offer the ladder match in its entirety online on their website tonight. And they should also offer the Cena part at minimum for everybody to see. Yeah. For anybody that was unable to see it, they should offer that on their website. Hopefully they do that. They should.
That was crazy to see. Well, at least to hear about it. And actually, all of a sudden, I find pictures like, oh, my God, it's John Cena. Because, like, I remember when I was a kid and I was really into him. So that was, of course, it's like a huge shock. Like, oh, my God, John Cena's here. And as far as, like, the Edge and Roman Reigns match, I mean, like, on one hand, I understand why some people didn't like it. I mean, I didn't really watch all of it, but I guess if there's one thing I can say about it is that I'm not really as hard on it as other people are because I like technical wrestling. I like, like the waist locks and the control of the wrists and things like that, joint manipulation. But I can understand why people, especially when you take in, like, everything that was happening and Edge taking the chair and being like, look, Roman. and it's like, oh, you think they're going to tear each other apart, but then all of a sudden, wrist locks and waist locks.
I used to joke about that on my hotline 20 years ago, that you would have these real intense feuds during the Attitude Era, and then once in a while, when two people who like, even if they had a stipulation that they couldn't touch each other until a pay-per-view, and then they would have the match, and the first thing they would do is a headlock. And we used to complain big time about that. Like, you want to tear somebody's head off, you don't chain wrestle. But I can't complain. I mean, the match delivered. In the end, it delivered. Just like Charlotte and Rhea. The first third of that match, you know, I was like, oh, no. You know, please, you know, hopefully it's not as, you know, as bad as, and next thing you know, they kicked into gear and the rest was great. So I props, because, you know, I don't think that match was bad at all, Reigns and Edge. I think in the end, it really delivered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think, you know, because like, I like, you know, like, again, like that old school, just technical wrestling. I was just thinking of it like, even though it wasn't like the best technical match out there, but, you know, like a Flair and Steamboat, you know, like they were all about, you know, taking their time and going for like arm drags and headlocks and stuff like that.
Sure. They had some intense feuds and they still chain wrestled, you know?
Yep.
So it's a good way to look at it. I'm glad that you have that perspective, because I know there's a lot of people out there that will agree with you tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Have a good night. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, you as well.
All right. Take care. All right. Let's keep the calls going, shall we? I mean, I'm going to end it soon. I mean, we're at 2 hours and 33 minutes. I noticed one area code's getting a lot of calls tonight. Hey, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, Don Tony, it's Steven from Mass.
Hey, Steve, what's going on?
Oh, nothing. I enjoyed the Money in the Bank. I thought it was pretty decent. I wanted to ask you about the Nikki winning the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Do you see that as, do you think that WWE is going to do a failed cash-in? Or do you think that, you remember when Edge beat up Mr. Kennedy and ended up taking his briefcase? Do you see a woman doing that to her, that somebody will just like knock her out and then like take it and then use that opportunity to cash in?
That's interesting, because I could picture Charlotte. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I could picture Charlotte showing up on Raw, cutting a cocky ass promo about winning the belt back. And let's say Becky shows up and Becky just lays her out with a shot or does something and just totally incapacitates Charlotte. And I could picture just Nikki, you know, coming out. But here's the problem with that. Would, and I hope everybody thinks about this, would a superhero do that? If Becky Lynch lays out Charlotte tomorrow, or Rhea Ripley lays out Charlotte, somebody does that to Charlotte, would a superhero do an act like that? While someone is laid out, you cash in the briefcase. That might be the one problem that they may have with this, because why would a wannabe superhero, you know, or almost a superhero, take a, you know, such a shortcut move? You know, like superheroes, it's not about taking the shortcuts and this and that. It's about earning and working and doing this. So that'll be interesting if they try that.
Yeah. I mean, because it definitely threw me by surprise that she ended up winning. I mean, I thought that maybe Liv, like maybe they'd go out of nowhere and have like Liv win the way that they're trying to like do something, or maybe they'd have like one of the more like established women in the match win. Like as far as her winning, like that definitely caught me off guard. So I thought that. I was thinking maybe she'd win, or maybe she's gonna she'll cash something in and she'll fail, or maybe like somebody will try to like steal the briefcase from her, and then like that'll be it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, obviously something is gonna go down on Raw, and it'll be interesting to see, you know, what happens. You know, I really think, like I said, Friday we had a nice surprise. Today we had a nice surprise. Goldberg coming back is going to be a surprise for some, but I think we need more. Something special needs to really happen on Raw, and I think it should be. And you know what? Especially with Edge and Seth Rollins now being in this storyline, I don't think you want Becky and Seth associated on the same brand at all right now. So I hope Becky shows up tomorrow. I think she's needed. I think maybe Charlotte even addresses the Becky chance tomorrow, and then maybe Becky shows up. So we'll see. We'll know within 24 hours, which will be cool.
Oh, yeah. And maybe this will definitely have that day after WrestleMania feel where everybody's like so amped up because it's like that first show, and then like maybe that's when they save for like all like the special like like different people like debuting and everything like that, because they were saying that they wanted to keep people off TV until like they have like crowds and everything like that. And the crowd, I noticed that it seemed like there was actually like a lot of organic like chants. It wasn't like them like trying to pump in like the auto, like like the auto tune like they normally try doing. Like I remember there's a couple of different times at like WrestleMania. I remember they tried doing that. When you actually like watch this one, you don't even notice that.
I don't think there was any tonight. I really don't. I mean, that crowd was crazy ass energetic tonight. It wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. Friday, I had said to people asked me, I didn't care if there was Friday or not. There was a couple of moments on TV, though, that looked a little weird. Some of the reaction, you looked at the fans, and they just weren't reacting to anything. But that was, like, so minimal that I didn't think it was a big deal. I don't think they're going to need to. I think, in the future, we have we're getting the feuds that we expected. And these guys and gals on their own don't need any enhanced stuff. And believe me, I think the more we have these live events with fans, the less and less WWE is going to realize they don't need that. They really don't. So far,
I think so too. I mean, it's usually that's needed. Like when they go to like those like weird places where like everybody's just sitting down, like not even paying attention, and like nobody's like really popping. But from like where they listed to like some areas they're actually gonna have like they usually decent crowds, especially like Philadelphia and like New York and like Boston, like California and stuff like that. A lot of those outlets, they're like usually like major like good like wrestling crowds. So like you get an idea of like how good the crowd is just from like some of those areas.
Yeah, it's true. But we'll see what happens on Raw tomorrow. I think it's going to be a real fun show, and let's see if WWE could keep this momentum going.
I think so too. And do you think that we're gonna finally see Bray Wyatt? Do you know it, or like Keith Lee and like any of those guys, or is that stuff? Is that like separate stuff that they're off TV?
I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I mean, there's enough people out there that really want to see him return. I just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's just held back for a couple of more weeks. I don't know. Tomorrow's going to tell a lot. A lot of people are asking about Keith Lee. So Keith Lee, hopefully he could come back in the very near future. So there's a bunch of names that are not around right now that we hope we see back shortly. So we'll see what happens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, my friend. Have a good night. And
you too. I hope you got to enjoy both pay-per-views because I mean, even Slammiversary ended up doing pretty good. So
yeah.
To have like two buzzes about everything that happened with Slammiversary, and then you get into Money in the Bank, and I thought Money in the Bank did pretty decent as far as like the buzz factor too. So it's definitely a pretty good week for wrestling and stuff. So hopefully we keep getting some good shows and stuff like that.
We got 5 days of great wrestling. Let's see if it could go into tomorrow, which I think it will. So, all right, my friend.
All right, man.
Have a good night. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Be well. All right. So overall, I think everybody really enjoyed the pay-per-view tonight. I mean, they really delivered. I mean, it lived up to the hype. I mean, last year's Money in the Bank was very strange. Good evening. You're on. Who's this?
Hey, Don Tony. It's Liz.
Hi, Liz.
How you going?
What'd you think of Money in the Bank tonight?
I was watching the show tonight.
Yeah.
I really liked it, other than when the glitch started on the men's Money in the Bank match. Oh, that had me ticked off.
Yeah, I felt bad. You know, I mean, looking back on it, honestly, what I should have done, I should have just told everyone, hey, everybody, if you're having problems on your app, you know, or your Roku or something, just go on the computer. It's working fine. I decided to, you know, have a joke, you know, tell everybody to chant Boogs 3 times. And thing was, I was watching it through my computer. So I mean, I had the, you know, through the Roku also, but that was more for my significant other. I was watching it through the computer. And the thing is that when some people said that they were having some buffering, you know, buffering for me just means like, okay, maybe the picture froze a little bit, but I didn't know onto what level that was until, you know, I saw Mish write that he didn't have any connection for 30 minutes. And I was like, whoa. I said, you know, okay, there's something more going on over here, but using on the computer, I had no issues whatsoever. So I don't know what it is. You know, it shouldn't happen. I mean, there really is no excuse for it. I mean, that just felt like either something with their software was updating or there was something going on, because that just felt like a, I don't want to say a bad internet connection, but if anyone out there has ever streamed video and there's a bad satellite connection, like you get a lot of choppy content and video. And I was looking at some clips that people were posting online, and I'm like, you know, if everybody's internet is good and the connection is there, the feed is there, that does not look like feed issues. That looked like some type of bandwidth or something. I wonder if Peacock went overloaded with this a little bit. I have a feeling that's bandwidth. That's what it felt like to me. But there's no excuse for that.
No, well, really, it started on the kickoff show. Kept seeing like black lines going across, because I have Peacock through Xfinity, and I don't have the app on the computer, but there was like black lines kept going through on the TV on the kickoff show, and then there was little glitches off and on. But on mine, when it got to the men's Money in the Bank, it just kept, it would go black, and then come back on, then go black, go back on, and everything. When they said it was fixed, they said to back out, which I hit the back, and then go back in, which it took like maybe a couple minutes to pop back in. It was fine.
Yeah. Oh, I'll say this. If you log in to Peacock, like if you have a login and a password, my advice to everyone out there is, if you go on a computer, obviously you do, go on Peacock's website and save it as a favorite in your browser. And if you run into a technical difficulty again, you could even watch Peacock through Edge, Microsoft Edge, or what's this, Google Chrome. Like, you could watch it on a browser. If you go on their website and you type in your login and your password, you should still have access to Peacock. Because on the computer, I had no issues tonight at all.
Well, you know, I've done that a couple times when watching on the TV, where the pictures froze and you just see the round circle going around, and I've gone on the computer and watched the rest of your show. But you were talking about the Roman Reigns and Edge match, and I didn't see him, Seth, slap his leg. But when they had the whole thing, when Edge fell into the ref, you notice that with the camera shot in the angle, you seen Roman hit Edge with his forearm, not his fist. Because when they replayed it, I'm like, I did see that he hit him with his forearm and not his fist when he fell into the ref. And then they were saying like, they were saying they played it off like his leg had buckled or his knee gave out or something. But I did see that he was holding his head. Everything. I'm like, he didn't hit his head on the mat when he fell.
Yeah, it didn't.
But
it was a little corny.
So it was so weird.
It was a little corny, but you know what? In the end, you know, the match ended up being very good. We got pretty much 2 matches guaranteed for SummerSlam now. John Cena's return, I think overall people are liking it. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing John Cena's promos on Roman Reigns. And this is going to be a big test for Roman Reigns. Because Roman Reigns, you know, I mean, it's nothing personal with those 2 guys with each other, but Roman Reigns knows that, you know, when Cena gets on these roles, yeah, he's got to be prepared for some instant comebacks. And I think bringing up that he left WWE for Hollywood and stuff like that, I think that's what's needed. And look, if down the line Roman Reigns feuds with The Rock, that's the ultimate test. I mean, this kind of feels like one of those punch-out games that you ultimately get Mike Tyson. Like, okay, you know, he got through, you know, like some SmackDown guys. Now he got through a Hall of Famer in Edge. Now he's got to get through John Cena, who, you know, is obviously higher than Edge. And then he's got to go through The Rock. It's like, you know, he's really got to build this stuff. But I think Roman Reigns will do fine. He's been killing it in this role. I think he feels comfortable. It looks like he's comfortable. I think he's having a great time.
Yeah, I was surprised that there was a big pop with Cena, because I thought there would be a lot of fans that would have booed him after the whole deal with the Fast and the Furious thing with China. But he got a big...
Yeah, I think, you know, they just want to be entertained, and he's a guy that they truly missed. And they see overall, I mean, even on his social media, like he's always trying to be inspirational, and it doesn't feel like he's just going through the motions. It's not under the WWE banner. And even when he's interviewed with people, he comes off really likable. And, you know, there's just something about him. I mean, it's a lot more than just the Super Cena stuff. I think we've gotten past that. Yeah. And, you know, Cena, I think it really started changing towards Cena when he did the challenges with I think it was the IC title. When he took on Kevin Owens, he had the feud with AJ Styles. Those were the times that I really felt like, okay, Cena's really trying to help the guys for tomorrow. That time is where I really changed my views on Cena. And to see him back and see that he's going to be around for a little bit, because SummerSlam is not right around the corner. So, you know, he's got to be on SmackDown Friday, and it's live. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's what they originally were saying, was he was supposed to be on SmackDown. Yeah. Wasn't expecting him at the end of the show. Yeah. And everything. But with AJ and Omos, that was a lot of big trust, with letting Omos throw him over the top rope to do the Hurricane Rana on Eric.
That was nice.
I see that, I'm like, woo.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was a lot of trust.
You know, like I said, AJ Styles is helping Omos in ways that we would never understand. And, you know, it's a tag team that just felt so awkward when it was put together. And me, you know, I don't want to see them split up anytime soon. Keep them the way they are. No. It's working great.
Yeah, and AJ could be training him.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's definitely helping him, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And it's not just the training. It's also the psychology. It's also even, you know, interacting and, you know, knowing your spots to go back and forth with people. And, you know, just, you know, they're really gelling. And the more they're in the ring together, the better it's going to be. And you could see a little progression in Omos. You know, it's not going to be perfect overnight, but, you know, so far I am completely satisfied with those two as a team.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to ask some. You were talking about what the whole thing was Jimmy and Jay. I got the feeling that Jimmy is kind of faking the whole thing, that the allegiance to Roman, because I think he's still trying to do this where he's trying to get Jay out from under Roman's control. And like you said, I don't think Roman really trusts Jimmy all that much. Yeah. And he thinks that Jimmy has an alternative plan, because all of a sudden he changed over, like, oh yeah, I accept you and everything and all that. And he's like, I think he's still trying to get the brother away from him.
It's a chess game between the two in the storyline. I like that people are noticing, those little nuances, and that's deliberate. I mean, that's definitely deliberate, but I like it. I mean, it keeps it interesting. It's a shame that the DUI happened. Obviously, this is going to progress rather quickly. The only thing is, you know, if Roman Reigns is going to be focused on Cena, I don't know how much the interaction with the Usos are going to be in the process. I mean, I have a feeling that may have to take a step back for a little bit. But, you know, I think this Friday SmackDown is going to tell a lot as far as where the storyline goes from here.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least with Jimmy, they didn't do a goofy storyline like they did with Jeff Hardy after his deal.
Sure.
And made that whole storyline famous and all that.
Yeah.
Although they are ignoring it, but they didn't do some goofy storyline.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, the DUI, it's a serious thing, especially when someone has a history of doing it. Obviously, there's things that we don't know about it, so hopefully some information comes out in the future that kind of explains this, or I don't know. And the thing is, I don't know how much we're truly entitled to know. You know what I mean? I mean, I know the perception of it doesn't look good, but, you know, they really don't need to tell us. You know, they might have to tell their investors, but, you know, I just hope that if this was just a big lapse by him, like a one-time mistake, you know, hopefully, you know, that's all it was. Hopefully it wasn't just him doing it every week and just happened to get caught. So, you know, we don't know. We don't know. That's why I won't joke about it, because, you know, we don't know how deep this goes. We really don't. I mean, it sucks that it happened. I hope he gets some help. Sounds like he needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he can get turned around and get straightened out.
Yeah.
Because it is a lifelong deal for some people, and some lose.
Yeah.
And lose bad.
Yeah. I know.
And then others change around spectacularly.
Sure. Well,
I mean, look at how with Jake Roberts, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And he said Diamond Dallas Page saved his life.
Yeah.
Straightened him out.
But he had a couple of... He had a couple of moments, you know, where he had his, you know, he enjoyed, but he kept it in moderation, and he was ultimately able to nix it completely.
Yeah.
It sucks. I mean, it sucks, but I just hope the guy gets some type of help.
Oh, yeah.
Even if he feels he doesn't need it.
You don't want to wish that on anybody. You always want to have hope for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So.
No matter what.
Yeah. But, well, I'm going to let you go because I'm going to start closing this out. I thank you for calling in. Much love as always.
You too.
I'll talk to you soon.
And congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
I appreciate it. And I thank you all again. Should we end it for tonight? We're almost at the 3-hour mark. I think we're good to close. I mean, we could carry this conversation on into Monday. You know, tomorrow night, which is really tonight, we got Raw. 3 hours of it. Mish and I will be here giving you a Raw recap. Yeah, let's call it for tonight. Let me, I apologize for anybody that was unable to call in. We'll end it at the 3-hour mark. But look, tomorrow night, I know the plan with Mish and I is we're going to talk Raw for about 30 to 40 minutes. About half of the show is going to be a Raw recap, and the other half is going to be nothing but calls. So if you didn't get a chance to call in tonight, you're more than welcome to join us tomorrow. And tomorrow you can talk about anything. You want to talk about Slammiversary, Raw? You want to talk about tonight's pay-per-view? You know, yeah, I had a feeling tonight, Benjamin, it was going to be a longer show because there was a lot to talk about. And I thought I was pretty fair on all the matches. I mean, it was a fun pay-per-view. It was definitely one to really just take in, and just everybody worked hard. It delivered. So with that said, everyone, before you go, you know the deal. If you would be so kind to hit that like button on the way out, the more you do that, the more that tells YouTube. You'd be surprised how much that helps. Post your comments in the chats, in the comment section. You know, what did you think of the pay-per-view? What do you think of Charlotte being the champion again? How do you feel about Cena returning? What do you think about Edge versus Rollins at SummerSlam? Do you want to see Big E take on Bobby Lashley? I'm totally interactive here, and not only do I respond, but some of your fellow friends that are tuning in, they will respond to you as well. So speak up. I definitely would love to hear everybody's thoughts on this. And for my channel members, tomorrow the Q&A will be up here. I'll put it up when I get home from work. And again, Mish and I will be back tomorrow night, less than 24 hours from now. So I'm still riled up from tonight. I enjoyed this pay-per-view, man. So I got to now try to figure out a way to crash and burn, because I got to get up at 6:30 for work. So everyone, much love as always. Where is my outro? Here's my outro. All right, everybody, be well. Thank you as always for tuning in. Much love. And I'll catch you all Friday night. See, now it's getting late. Monday night, 11:05 p.m. right after Raw. So be well, everyone. Have a great night. Hit that like button and comment. Bye.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the hosts. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.